A beautiful Sunday afternoon. The temperature is in the low 60s, the humidity only 30%, and the forecast calling for no chance of rain. Certainly different than last Friday when Hurricane Hugo tore through the Carolinas and Virginia. With torrential rains and winds up to 135 miles an hour, causing millions of dollars in property damage. But somehow, Martinsville Speedway escaped the wrath of Hurricane Hugo. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Bob Jenkins, and it's a beautiful sunny day now, and we're set for racing here at Martinsville. We did have some rain on Friday and a little bit of wind, but absolutely no damage. As a matter of fact, on Friday afternoon, the track was dry, and they began to qualify. It resulted in one of the most unusual qualifying sessions in recent Winston Cup history. For more on that story, let's go to the grid. Dr. Jerry Punch.
Well, thank you very much, Bob Jenkins. You know, Friday morning, Hurricane Hugo did roll through Martinsville with its 55-mile-per-hour winds. But the real story here was Friday afternoon when Hurricane Hensley, yes, local short-track ace Jimmy Hensley, was called upon to qualify the Goody Chevrolet. Dale Earnhardt just made it to the track in time to watch his car qualify. A big smile on Earnhardt's face as Jimmy Hensley had just turned a lap of near 92 miles per hour. Congratulating Hensley, Earnhardt was extremely happy. Boy, and that's right, Jimmy Hensley is in the Busch Clash, but Dale Earnhardt will start the car from the pole today. And what Hensley did, Benny Parsons, was give Earnhardt a chance to stay atop the Winston Cup point standings.
Jerry Punch, I can't believe how lucky Dale Earnhardt is, because there were 8 drivers that were late getting here. Along with Earnhardt was Ken Schrader, Rick Wilson, and Lake Speed, unable to qualify because of the storm. There was 4 other drivers that got very little practice. Davey Allison, Phil Parsons, and Rusty Wallace, Ricky Rudd. Ricky Rudd is starting 7th. That's the furthest up anyone is starting of the 8 except Earnhardt. And Jimmy Hensley qualified his car on the pole. Ned Jarrett, it's so important at this racetrack starting up front, isn't it?
Oh, it's absolutely the place to be, starting on the inside and then up front as well. Last week, we told you how many positions each driver that's behind Earnhardt in the Winston Cup point standings had to gain in each race in order to win the Winston Cup Championship. Well, after Earnhardt won at Dover, let's take a look at what they have to do now. Rusty Wallace last week only had to gain 2 positions per race. Now he has to gain 4. Mark Martin, who's 3rd in the point standings, last week only had to gain 7. Now he has to gain 8. Darrell Waltrip only had to gain 9. Now he has to gain 14. And Bill Elliott, with an impossible task last week, had to gain 16, and we knew he couldn't do that. Well, now he has to gain 21 points per position from here on out if he's going to win the championship. Well, as we say, this is a very tough racetrack, and Rusty Wallace starting back in 20th place, and Dick Berggren, that's not the place you want to start.
Ned Jarrett, you're absolutely right. Of all the racetracks where a guy would rather not start in the back, this is number 1. Why? Because the turns are so tight. When the leader goes in the first turn, he's going to hit his brakes. The guy behind him is going to have to use a little bit more brake. Guy behind him is going to have to use a little bit more brake too. And by the time it gets to Rusty, that's what's going to happen. Rusty Wallace has got to avoid any sort of trouble here at Martinsville Speedway if he's to have any hopes of winning the championship. Starting in the back, he's got a tall order to avoid any sort of trouble.
Well, Dick, while Rusty has his work cut out for him, Darrell Waltrip won this race last year, and he started from the 20th position. We'll see how things go this afternoon as we are live in Martinsville. The engines have been started down on the front stretch. They're beginning to roll away for 5 warm-up laps, during which they'll seat their brakes. These 5 laps will not count, and then they'll be getting the green flag for 500 laps of racing. Let's look at the racetrack. It's 0.526 miles in length. The pole lap time was 20.602 seconds and the speed 91.913 miles an hour. Race length is 500 laps and the fuel range about 150 laps. 32 cars and drivers are set to go, and now here is the starting lineup. On the pole, Dale Earnhardt from Kannapolis, North Carolina, the GM Goodwrench Chevrolet. Outside is Darrell Waltrip from Franklin, Tennessee, in the number 17 Tide Chevrolet. Going to row number 2, it's Jeff Bodine from Chemung, New York. He's driving the number 5 Levi Garrett Chevrolet. And on the outside of row number 2 will be Sterling Marlin driving the number 94 Sunoco Oldsmobile. Sterling hails from Columbia, Tennessee. Going to row number 3, it's rookie point contender Dick Trickle from Wisconsin Rapids, Wisconsin, in the number 84 Miller High Life Buick. And on his outside, starting 6th, will be Terry Labonte from Corpus Christi, Texas, in the number 11 Budweiser Ford. Starting in 7th position inside row number 4, it's Ricky Rudd from Chesapeake, Virginia in the number 26 Quaker State Buick. He's flanked on the outside of row number 4 by Alan Kowicki from Greenfield, Wisconsin. He drives the number 7 Xerox Antifreeze Ford. In the 5th row will be Mark Martin, currently 3rd in Winston Cup points. He's from Batesville, Arkansas, and drives the Strolite Ford, car number 6. Outside of row number 5 will be Bill Elliott from Dawsonville, Georgia. He's driving the number 9 Coors Ford. Starting at 11th position inside of row number 6 in the Peak Pontiac, car number 42 from Randleman, North Carolina, Kyle Petty. And starting in 12th position, another rookie contender from Spartanburg, South Carolina, number 16 Chattanooga Chew Buick is Larry Pearson. In the 7th row will be car number 2 Ernie Irvin and 75 Morgan Shepherd. The 8th row Michael Waltrip in car number 30 and Brett Bodine in 15. Starting in row number 9, it's Davey Allison in number 28 and Jimmy Means in 52. The 10th row, Derry Cope and Rusty Wallace in car number 27. Fastest second-day qualifier starting 21st was Ken Schrader. He'll be alongside Rick Wilson. The 12th row, Greg Sachs and Harry Gant. And as you look at the rest of the starting lineup, you can see the cars here on the main straightaway getting their tires warmed up and getting their brakes seated for 500 laps of competition. For a pre-race report, let's go to Dr. Jerry Punch.
Can you believe this may be Dale Earnhardt's weekend? I mean, when you're lucky, you're lucky. When you're hot, you're hot. Take a look. This is a wire they found sticking out of the left front tire just moments ago before they rolled the cars off. And NASCAR allowed them to go over and change the left front tire. It was going flat. Had they not been able to see this, in fact, rear tire changer Will Lynn saw it. The left front tire was going down. They changed the tire, and the Goodrich Chevrolet Lumina will be back at the front to start the race. What a break for Earnhardt. Bob?
Things seem to be going his way. That's the type of break that you need to win a Winston Cup championship. And Dale Earnhardt can move one step closer this afternoon here at Martinsville. You can see 71 races, only 10 have won from the pole. Now again, I'll tell you what's going on. They're running 5 warm-up laps here, and they're doing this to seat the brakes, Benny.
To get the brakes bedded in just a little bit, because yesterday afternoon it rained during the last Winston Cup practice. The drivers were not able to do this. NASCAR said, okay, we'll run 5 warm-up laps. Inside the Quaker State Buick with Ricky Rudd.
And there's the in-car camera from Ricky Rudd. We have 3 in-car cameras operating today. The bumper cam is on Harry Gant's car number 33.
That's Tommy Ellis we're looking at there, driving the Wood Brothers car, replacing Neil Bonney.
And that's the view out front of the Harry Gant car. That's Greg Sachs there at number 48. And our 3rd in-car camera being carried by Michael Waltrip. We have the side cam on his car that will give you an idea of how close these cars come to that outside wall as they swing off corners number 2 and 4.
And how close they are to each other. We're in the middle of the corner, because I tell you, the groove of this racetrack is the same place. If 2 cars go through there abreast, they need to literally be rubbing sheet metal to do that.
Now, because of the unusual circumstance regarding the pole position that Jerry Punch explained to you, there will be no Unocal money that's available today. It will be rolled over to next week and worth almost $175,000, specifically $174,800. And we got one more lap to go before the green flag. Jeff Chandler from the Levi Garrett Jeff Bodine crew will be wearing our crew cam this afternoon. He's the front tire changer on that car, and we look for some good shots from him this afternoon. Cars now entering the backstretch. The pace car has pulled off on the backstretch pits, and in a half more lap, we should be going green for 500 grueling laps here at where are we?
Martinsville, Virginia. Bob, they have some new pavement here on the straightaways and on the upper part of the turns. As they go in, you can see they're still running on cement down on the low side of the racetrack, but that's new pavement up on the high side. Might cause some of the drivers a little bit of problem here in the early part of the race.
The crowd is on its feet, cheering as the green flag comes out and the Goody's 500 is on. Abreast racing through the first and second corners. Everybody through okay, and Dale Earnhardt leads him down the backstretch into turn number 3. Jeff Bodine has second, and Darrell Waltrip is third. Rusty Wallace in car number 27 started in 20th position. He's got the inside line. That's where he needs to be. But but he needs to be passing cars and moving up as quickly as possible to get himself in contention. That's Derek Pope in number 10 just ahead.
Rick Wilson on the outside. They're two abreast. There's no place for Rusty Wallace to go. Now Wallace pulls up on the inside of Rick Wilson, trying to take that spot away.
Look at the traffic. This is from Harry Gant's car. Rick Wilson just ahead. Rusty Wallace on the inside. There goes Ken Schrader in car number 25 to the inside of Harry Gant as they go into turn number 3.
On the first lap, the inside lane really jammed up, and so a few cars jumped up on the outside, said maybe that's the place to be, but they're finding now that the inside is the best place.
You remember earlier in the show when Dick Berggren told us and showed us about the domino effect, that is brakes being hit and you get hit from the front and the rear. Well, look what happens to Rusty Wallace, exactly that in the opening lap as he gets hit from the front and the rear. And we have a car into the pits. Jeff Bodine is in for an unscheduled pit stop. Here's Jerry Punch.
Well, NASCAR has called Bodine in because a lot of smoke, as you now see, coming from beneath the hood area. And Waddell Wilson and the Levi Garrett crew will raise the hood and take a look and try to determine what the problem is. A tough break for Jeff Bodine. That's a great qualifying effort here. He now is losing at least one lap to Dale Earnhardt as the leaders go by. He still sits here in the pit road with the hood up under green.
Jeff Bodine won here at Martinsville back in 1984, the spring race, and things not going well for Jeff here in the opening laps.
That was his first win ever in Winston Cup competition. And he's the only driver to have won in 3 different types of competition here, modified, Busch Grand National, and Winston Cup.
Let's go down to Dick Berggren with a follow-up report on Bodine.
Bob Jenkins, this is exactly what Jeff Bodine was worried about before the start of this race. This is a brand new motor in the car. When that rain came yesterday afternoon, they did not have a chance to check it. And just before the start, he said, the thing I'm most worried about is maybe the oil line's not right, maybe this engine's not right. I haven't even heard this thing run yet. I hope it's going to be okay. It's not.
And trouble down in turn 1.
Kyle Petty and Larry Pearson are involved. We have a spin behind that group of cars.
Davey Allison spun down on the grass.
Everybody keeps going, however, and Davey's car is well into the grassy area in turn number 2, and so far, no caution.
He's stuck. With all the rain we've had here during the Hurricane Hugo come through, the ground is soft, and Davey Allison is stuck, and still no caution flag.
And he's out of the racing group, and he's pretty far off the racing group. Now the caution is coming out.
So while Hurricane Hugo didn't damage things here at Martinsville, it certainly has created interesting situations. Last Friday with the qualifying, and Davey Allison gets stuck because of all the rain. Here's a replay.
Larry Pearson and Kyle Petty get together going in turn 1. Davey Allison, I guess, tried to stop. Looks like someone, Rusty Wallace just barely gets by that. Now here's the 2 shots of the pits. The pace car goes by. There's Davey Allison sitting down in the infield stuck.
Unable to go anywhere, and so the caution flag does come out over the speedway for the first time this afternoon on lap number 10. Dale Earnhardt is ahead of Darrell Waltrip, Sterling Marlin, Dick Trickle, Ricky Rudd, Terry Labonte, Alan Kowicki, Mark Martin, Bill Elliott, Ernie Irvin, Michael Waltrip, Morgan Shepherd, Jimmy Means. Now the green flag indicates to the drivers that the pits are open. The only one, however, taking advantage of the situation is Davey Allison. Now here's our split screen, and we're going to use this throughout the afternoon. The left, the front pits, the right side of your screen, the back pits, and we should see a difference in the amount of activity there.
They won't pit this early, only 5 laps into the race or 10 laps into the race. They won't pit. But what happens is that the cars in the front pit come in, they'll be able to get their work finished before the fellas in the back pits can even get to the pits. So it's a tremendous advantage for the 16 cars that's pitting on the front straightaway.
You can see a couple of cars coming into the rear pits. Let's go to Jerry Punch, who can update us on the situation involving Davey Allison, who's back out there.
Well, there appeared to be very minimal damage on the Haviland 4. Davey Allison did come in and take on all 4 tires, and when he spun up there, came across the track, apparently flat spotting the tires. They didn't want to take any chances they may have cut a tire, so they brought him down, and Robert Yates and the crew changed all 4. Now, Davey had already lost at least a couple of laps to the leaders, and he lost another one sitting here in the pits getting those tires changed. We might update you also on Jeff Bodine. Bodine came in here, was in the pits for a lengthy period of time. They had to replace an oil line in the front of the car and put some more oil in the car, but the Levi Garrett Chevrolet back on the track, ready to race. But he is certainly laps down. We're getting ready to go green. Bob?
Harold Kinder displays the green flag and racing resumes on lap number 12 here at Martinsville. Dale Earnhardt in the number 3 GM Goodrich Chevrolet leads Darrell Waltrip in the Tide Chevrolet and Sterling Marlin in the number 94 Sedona Oldsmobile. Good in-car camera action inside Ricky Rudd's car.
Everybody running single file right now, Bob, and we'll see that here for quite a while. For those that can get that on the inside, of course, no cars have been lapped, so everyone did restart on single file.
Rather than Quaker State Buick is 5th. That is Dick Trickle in car number 84 just ahead. Trickle running 4th. Trickle finished 3rd here in the spring.
He adapted to this racetrack very well. Of course, he has a tremendous amount of short track experience, and he will put it to good use here at Martinsville.
And looking for the Winston Cup Rookie of the Year honors when they are passed out in early December in New York City. We'll show you the top 10 as the Goody's 500 is well underway here at Martinsville on a beautiful Sunday afternoon. We'll be back with more of our live coverage after this. And we have a new leader as Darrell Waltrip in the number 17 Tide Chevrolet passed Dale Earnhardt and went into the lead, and this is how it occurred.
Boy, he did it on the outside coming off of turn 4. Waltrip got a good jump off of that turn, went into turn 1 on the outside of Dale Earnhardt, outbraked him going into the turn and took the lead.
That won't happen. Earnhardt's not going to give him that much room in the last few laps of the race, but the first few laps of the race, it really doesn't matter a great deal.
Here's a battle going on in the middle of the pack. That's Tommy Ellis in car number 21, who is substituting for the injured Neil Bonnet, and we want to say hi to Neil this afternoon, who is watching our telecast from his home in Alabama. There you can see Jeff Bodine in car number 5 as he tries to get back up to speed. He is 6 laps down, and Davey Allison is 2 laps down on the field. Davey Allison moving to the inside of Greg Sachs in car number 48. He's forced high on the racetrack in turn number 4. It's Harry Gannon, number 33, alongside of Greg Sachs, and we go inside Harry's car to see the view from his perspective. That's Allison just ahead, and Phil Parsons also just ahead. The bumper cam looks back on Greg Sachs.
That's a great shot as Greg Sachs comes in and the Dennerville Pontiac closes up on Harry Gant, but Harry able to pull him a few car lengths down the straightaway.
Rusty Wallace trying to move up through the traffic alongside of Jimmy Means. That's Kyle Petty also just ahead of Rusty Wallace, and Ken Schrader is just ahead of Kyle. 16th and 17th position right here. Let's go to Jerry Punch, who has a comment on Rusty Wallace.
We talk about the fortunes that Dale Earnhardt had this weekend finding that piece of wire in his tire just before the start. Well, the same happened with Rusty Wallace. In fact, they found a pinhole in the block, and they had to replace the motor this morning prior to going to green, so they had to hustle and get the motor back in the car. The exact same thing that happened to them a few weeks ago at Richmond, Virginia. They put a brand new motor in on race morning and went on to win, so we're hoping maybe the fortunes will be the same here again today.
Well, Rusty has moved up 5 positions since the green flag dropped. He's now up to 15th, and here's a battle between Alan Kowicki in car number 7 and Terry Labonte in number 11. And this is the battle for 6th position. Alan Kowicki pulls ahead just a little bit of Terry Labonte as they go into turn number 3.
The battle of a couple of Fords there. Both of those drivers run this track very well. Labonte in his last year with the Junior Johnson Budweiser team. Alan Kowicki will continue to stay with his own team next year, with C-Rex continuing as a sponsor.
Looking out the back glass of the Ricky Rudd car. Couple of ASA guys in Winston Cup competition doing very well. However, another ASA veteran, Mark Martin, is having his problems and has dropped off the pace.
Yes, he has. He dropped down to the inside. Any speculation? Maybe an engine problem?
I think a flat tire. I believe he has a flat tire because as he came off turn 4 the last time, the car was extremely squirrely. The crews on out on pit road, but he rides by one more time, hoping against the caution flag, just hoping and praying that a caution flag would come out.
But boy, he can lose a lap in a hurry, though, going at that kind of a speed around here.
Now there we have second and third position in the Winston Cup point standings. The number 27 car of Rusty Wallace second, and the number 6 car of Mark Martin is third. Mark finds himself 206 points behind the Winston Cup points leader, Dale Earnhardt, going into this event, while Rusty Wallace is 102 behind.
Well, Mark decided to get back in line there and just see what he could do, see if he could run with them.
Dick Berggren, what might be the problem?
Well, the problem is that his ratchet is broken in the rear end. Now, these cars have a rule that says that one wheel has to turn free when it's jacked up. But they've also come up with a rear end device that allows both to be locked together. And that's what gives them all a drive coming off the corner. The ratchet is what locks them together. When that ratchet is broken, only one of the 2 rear wheels drive. Makes the car very squirrely and not very fast. And that is what's wrong with Mark Martin. He'll suffer with that this afternoon. Almost certainly. It'd take forever to fix it. You got to take the whole intersection out of the rear end to repair it.
Exactly right, Dick Berggren. They cannot fix that problem in less than 15, 20 minutes. So all he can do is sit out and ride around and hope it cures itself. But that's not going to happen, I wouldn't think.
Darrell Waltrip begins to lap some of the slower traffic, putting a lap on Bobby Hillin in car number 8. But there is Dale Earnhardt, who is locked right into his back bumper. First and second position here. Waltrip leading, and Earnhardt is second. Now, Darrell Waltrip is going for his 3rd consecutive Goody's 500 win, and he has won the last 3 out of 5 races here at this racetrack. He likes it.
Well, after he passed Dale Earnhardt, Earnhardt has stayed right on his bumper, so Earnhardt just didn't fight him that much. As Benny pointed out, early in the race, he wasn't going to take any chances and fight him. Maybe he was running a little bit faster than he wanted to, using up more of his brakes, so he said, I'll just get along behind Darrell here and ride for a while. I've already got 5 bonus points as a result of leading the race, so I'll just sit here and ride for a little while.
Now, while we have that battle going up front, here is another one, as there are 4 cars running nose to tail. The number 94 car, driven by Sterling Marlin. Also in here is Dick Trickle, Ricky Rudd, and Alan Kowicki. They are passing Hut Strickland and putting a lap on him in the number 57 Hines car, one of the rookie contenders in Winston Cup.
Kowicki got by Ricky Rudd just a lap before. That took this spot away.
It's Kowicki, Rudd, and Labonte as we're inside Rudd's car, the Quaker State Buick. Pole speed here, 91.913 miles an hour on this half-mile racetrack. We have the top 15 at the end of 36 laps here at Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. We'll be right back. Bill Elliott is in trouble. What happened?
I think he blew a tire going into turn 4. He went up very high up next to the wall. I don't think he hit the wall, but I believe the right front tire is flat on the Coors Ford. He's down on the inside of the track going into turn 1. He's got a long way to go to get back to his pits because he is pitting on the front side.
Boy, he's killed. You know, there's no way in the world. It's going to take him a lap to get, at least a lap to get back to his pit, and then probably a couple of laps to change the tire. So a tough break for Bill Elliott, at least 2 laps and maybe 3 laps down.
The defending Winston Cup champion, currently 5th in the points. Here's Jerry Punch with a report on pit road.
Ernie Elliott standing by waiting for his younger brother Bill to come in, and apparently they are signaling that they are going to try to fix it here on pit road. The damage looked to be more severe than it actually may be. They have the jack beneath the right side of the car. They will make a 4-tire change to the defending Winston Cup champion Bill Elliott. Ernie Elliott, Dan Elliott, Tommy Cole, and all the crew now changing. Ernie just picks up that shredded right front tire and throws it across the pit wall. They're now around the left side of the car, changing left side tires. Bill losing valuable time. Dale Earnhardt just retakes the lead from Darrell Waltrip. They're swapping it back in front. We are now back in the pits, and Bill Elliott, the defending champion, comes off the jack, is down and away.
Boy, that was a tough break for Bill Elliott. And probably what happened, Benny Parsons, is he didn't wear that tire out and caused it to blow. He probably heated the brakes up and melted the inner tube.
I would say that's probably true. Here's we see Bill Elliott as he comes off turn floor with the right front tire flat, and we see it just ripping itself apart as he comes off the corner.
Jerry Punch once again on pit road with the tire.
we're standing here looking. This is the tire that came off the right front of the car, and Dan Elliott is looking at it here and rolling it back and forth, trying to see where it cut. He lost 3 laps in the pits. Mike Thomas, the tire specialist here, and I tell you, they're rolling the tire around, trying to look see if they had a puncture wound in the tire. Let me ask Mike. Mike, you got any idea what happened? Did he cut the tire?
I can hear you, Jerry.
What happened? Did he cut the tire?
I think so. We don't really know. It just went flat and he hit the wall. He never said a word.
Okay, that's Mike Thomas, who takes care of the tires here on the Elliott car, and a tough break from Elliott, now showing 3 laps down the leader, Dale Earnhardt.
Well, while Dale Earnhardt has gone back into the lead, here now side-by-side competition between Alan Kulwicki in car number 7 and Dick Trickle in number 84, and Kulwicki moves to 4th position. Our in-car camera right behind Dick Trickle now.
There are a lot of cars beginning to slip and slide. We saw Dick Trickle slide just a little bit off of turn 2. And the number of the cars are beginning to slide a little bit now as they come off of the turn. So the track is getting a little bit slicker.
It certainly is, Ned, as we watch Sterling Marlin, Alan Kulwicki, and Dick Trickle, Ricky Rudd. Rudd in the green, number 26. Dick Trickle in the gold and white, number 84. Alan Kulwicki up front in that blue and white Xerox car.
3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Meanwhile, here is the leader, Dale Earnhardt, as he laps the number 48 car. The yellow flag is out for the 2nd time today.
I don't see anything on the race. There must be some debris or something on the racetrack.
The pace car will enter the racetrack, pulling out of the backstretch pits. Lap number 50 and 2nd caution of the afternoon.
Maybe some of that slipping and sliding was from some oil from the car number 51 of Butch Miller.
There we see the green flag down in the corner. That signifies that the front pit is going to be open. Now we're going to show you what we're talking about. Here's the 16 cars that are pitting on the front. They're all going to drive in.
But look at the back pit. There's nobody there simply because the field hasn't reached that point.
Exactly. See, they're working on the cars on the front. They're changing tires, putting fuel in it. Meanwhile, nothing's going on in the back.
And they're going to be finished before many of the cars even reach their pit on the backstretch.
Okay, now they just start coming into the pits, and as you say, most of them on the front have already got their work completed. In fact, Alan Kulwicki is going out of the pits right now. He beats everybody out. He and Ernie Irvin. Dale Earnhardt comes out 3rd as the crews on the backstretch just go to work on their cars.
See, all the cars are leaving the front pits, and they're just going to work in the back. In the back pits are just going to work. It's a tremendous disadvantage you pitting on the back straightaway at Martinsville.
Yeah, the way that you have to pit back there is if you don't qualify, if you're not in the top 10 in the point standings, now some of the back marks on the back pits are starting to leave the pits. Let's go to pits and Jerry Punch.
Well, then, along the same lines, a number of the car owners that are having a pit in the backstretch were very, very concerned about this. Walter Bud Moore, we all know him by Bud Moore. They call him Walter when he gets upset because he's a guy that he argued this morning in the drivers' meeting. He wanted the flag rule disallowed here. He said, hey, we could be leading the race, and we have a caution flag, and Brett Bodine comes in, we'll come out of the pits running 16th. He said, that's not fair. And so they do have a point back there, but it certainly has made pit road much safer by closing it and letting everyone come back in and pit at one time.
So the first set of pit stops have been made here under caution because of debris on the racetrack. On lap number 50, the pace car is on the racetrack in the field at reduced speed. We're live for the Goody's 500 at Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. We'll be right back. We're back to green at the Goody's 500 here in Martinsville, Virginia, and the lead is held by the number 7 car of Alan Kulwicki. 2nd is Dale Earnhardt. Now, Bill Elliott is there between 1st and 2nd position, but he is several laps down. And Jim Sauter has replaced Rick Wilson in the number 4 car as Wilson's injuries from Richmond are still bothering him.
Dale Earnhardt gets on the inside of Bill Elliott, moves him over. Now, Earnhardt, Walter, all the other cars going to be going by on the inside.
Darrell Waltrip is 3rd in car 17. He led until the yellow flag brought the cars in for a pit stop.
Ernie Irvin is up there currently running in the 4th position. He was 2nd when he came out of the pits. I think Ernie only took on right side tires maybe, and he got a good track position. But that the tires are not holding quite as good for it.
Here is Earnhardt trying to take the lead away from Alan Kowicki, and he does. And now Kowicki's on the high groove. That's not the place to be, and he drops from first to third just that quickly.
And, you know, Kowicki might have only taken on 2 tires as well. He got back out there very quickly, but, boy, 4 tires make such a big difference here.
So we're back where we were before we started. Dale Earnhardt leading and Darrell Waltrip in second place. Kowicki was able to get by Dick Trickle and also Sterling Marlin in the exchange of pit stops.
Alan Kowicki did take 2 tires. So that may explain why the car isn't sticking quite as well as some of the others. Now Waltrip will challenge Earnhardt for the lead again and take it, or at least, yep, he's going to do it.
Well, he's passed him on the outside. Now he's passed him on the inside.
He's got this track figured out.
Yeah, right. He's getting by on top and bottom.
Darrell Waltrip has won 10 races at this particular track. 4 in this fall race. The other 6, of course, have come in this spring race that's held here at Martinsville. Back in the pack we go to show you some action back down. Now there's Ernie Irvin in car number 2. And the 94 car driven by Sterling Marlin. There is Ernie Irvin. You can see on lap number 50 he pitted. He came in 8th position and came out in 2nd. He has dropped to 4th, however, since that time.
Tell you what, he's not running that bad in that Kroger Pontiac, staying in front of Sterling Marlin. And never see Jim Sauter on the inside of Ricky Rudd trying to pass him. So Sauter evidently making some headway in that Kodak Film Oldsmobile.
Didn't take him long to adjust to it, did it?
Sure did.
He practiced yesterday in the car. In fact, if he had not, he would not have been permitted to get in the car.
Let's go to Dick Bergen with a comment on Darrell Waltrip.
Bob Jenkins up and down pit road. The crews were talking about Darrell Waltrip's ability to choose the right gear ratio for this racetrack. He picks a gear ratio that if he were to keep his foot on the throttle all the way down the straightaway, he'd probably wring the guts right out of the engine at the end of that straightaway. The gear ratio is such that his RPMs will turn a whole lot more. So what Waltrip does is he backs off earlier than some of the other competitors, and he lets that gear ratio help the car go into the corner. That saves his brakes, and that'll become important later in the race. The other thing it does, it gives him a tremendous amount of poke coming out of the corner. And he picked that thing up coming out of the corner, and that's how he got by Earnhardt on the inside. So Waltrip with a smart gear ratio. For another story, here's Gary Punch.
Well, Dick, you know, one thing about having a good gear ratio is you can get off the corners quite a bit. But let me show you what a problem may be for Darrell Waltrip. Take a look. This is the tire that came off Waltrip's left rear. They're getting some shoulder separation. What's causing this, according to Bill Wilburn, their tire specialist on the Tide crew, the car is so strong coming off the corner. They got it so tight, he actually is spinning the tire, lining up the rear wheels and separating the rubber here. So they're having a problem here. The tire above it also having some problems. So you see where it's starting to blister, starting to separate. These are both the rear tires, left rear and right rear. They're saying where you come across from the asphalt onto the concrete there going into turn 1, there's a little bit of a hump there, and the car will begin to shudder, and they jump on the brakes, and it may simply separate the rubber. So possibly a problem later on the day for Darrell Waltrip.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Down on the racetrack, ooh, Dick Trickle a little bit sideways there coming into turn number 1 as he received a little bit of a nudge there from Brett Bodine. The number 30 car of Michael Waltrip is up to 14th position. He was higher than that, but has been dropping back. And here is a replay and a shot from our side cam just a few minutes ago. And look at that!
What a shot! Man.
And here it is live. Now that's Derek Cope just ahead of the Purolator car. We talked about how close these cars run to the walls coming out of the corners. They also get pretty darn close to some other cars, too. But look how close they are to the wall there.
Yeah, they get out as wide as they can before they start going into those sharp corners and make as big a turn out of it as they possibly can. And sometimes that's not enough. They wish that wall was a little farther out.
Michael Waltrip had ideas of going inside of Gary Cope there, trying to pick up another position. Here's a side-by-side battle between Rusty Wallace in number 27 and Ricky Rudd in 26. This is the battle for 6th position. Let's see if Wallace, who has the inside line, can take over this spot. Rudd battling back on the outside, but nope, Rusty has it. And here it is from our in-car camera being carried by Ricky Rudd. Let's listen.
home are wondering how Rusty Wallace got up to the front so quickly, because he was pitting on the front. Remember, we showed you the split pit stop, the front and back straightaway pits. Rusty Wallace pitting on the front. Therefore, he was able to get in. His crew was very, very fast. They got him out in front of some other cars.
He has moved from 20th to 5th position in the first 75 laps. Started 20th, then 16th, then 12th, now 5th at the end of 75 laps. And Bobby Hillen appears to be experiencing some major mechanical problems.
Yeah, there's smoke coming from the car. He had slowed on the racetrack, Bob, and then went into the pits on the backstretch, and a lot of smoke coming from that car. And look at Rusty Wallace on the march, trying to take over the 4th position now from Ernie Irvin.
So Rusty Wallace is dispelling all those claims that starting in the back of the pack isn't the place to be. He is moving up quickly now, side by side of Ernie Irvin, moving out of turn number 2 and down the backstretch. And Rusty Wallace is trying for 4th position.
Well, one thing that he could hope for would be a caution sometime about the time they had it, like 50 or 60 laps, when everybody would come into the pits. And as Benny mentioned, to come and have it hitting on the front stretch is a big advantage for him. Here comes Ricky Rudd on the inside of Ernie Irvin, trying to take over the 5th position.
So Ricky Rudd does move into 5th position, and Ernie Irvin in car number 2 drops back to 6th. We're glad you could join us here at Martinsville, Virginia for the Goodies 500. Bobby Hillen in the pit area with trouble. The leader of the race is Darrell Waltrip. Chevrolet is first, Dale Earnhardt Chevrolet is second, and Chevy has won 11 of the last 13 races here at Martinsville Speedway. Now, back in the pack we go once again and show you Mark Martin, Brett Bodine, the 21 car driven by Tommy Ellis, and Derek Cope in number 10. They're banging around out there.
Well, they really are. Mark Martin slipped a little bit. Brett Bodine got a nose under him. Let's see if he can make the pass now as he goes into turn 1. Brett drives it on down there, and I believe he is going to make the pass. And meanwhile, Dale Earnhardt's trying to make a pass.
Earnhardt trying to take the lead back from Darrell Waltrip. It's been a seaside battle between those two all afternoon long, and now Dale Earnhardt recaptures the lead. Back to this battle we go, however. Brett Bodine, Mark Martin, and Tommy Ellis at number 21.
3 Fords battling it out. Tommy Ellis, certainly no stranger to the Martinsville Speedway. He's won a lot of Busch Grand National races here.
Bad luck yesterday in the Busch Grand National race that was won by Tommy Houston, that you will see later this week here on ESPN.
There we see a huge string of cars all following the Sunoco Oldsmobile driven by Sterling Marlin. There we see the 30 car, Michael Waltrip, 84 Dick Trickle. Now this is a shot from the right side of Michael Waltrip's Country Time Pontiac. Look how close he comes to the outside retaining wall. Drives in. Now watch this.
Bobby Hillen comes back out into the traffic down on the inside. Whatever problems he has, he apparently has them repaired.
No.
That cost Michael Waltrip, or did it?
Look at this. Michael Waltrip, the meat in the sandwich. He gets squeezed from both sides, and Derek Cope drops back a spike.
And it might cost him more than that. Here's Phil Parsons trying to come down on the inside as they still try to move around Bobby Hillen. Phil Parsons in the Crown Skull Oldsmobile on the inside of Cope. There's Richard Petty right on his bumper. And then Morgan Shepherd, Dale Jarrett, Harry Kent, and Lake Speed all there looking for a place to go.
Well, there are a few similarities between a track like this and, for instance, Talladega, except that, as is the case in Talladega, when you get out of the draft and get on the high side, you lose positions, and so it is here at Martinsville. When you get out of that inside groove on the high side, it gets stuck out there.
You can see the damage to Dale Jarrett at the front of the Hardy's Pontiac. He got that on the very first lap. Now he's trying to move around Richard Petty. Oh. They tap a little bit coming off of that turn. Jarrett gets the position, though.
And he'll move up to, I believe, 19th spot with that move. Dale Jarrett in car number 29.
Dale had made a second pit stop. He came out at about 15th position after his pit stop, or 16th, but he had to go back into the pit, so he was absolutely at the tail end of the field. He really has been running good and coming back up through the pack, but he's in some awful heavy traffic right now.
Michael Waltrip in the Country Time Lemonade post-sponsored machine, number 30. There's Dick Trickle behind him.
Boy, when you're running in a pack of cars like this, about 15 or so of them running in a line, it's so easy, Bennett, to use your brakes up in a situation like that.
It really is, especially when there's those cars we saw behind Sterling Marlin a little bit ago, just jammed up, and they're having to use the brakes a lot more than they really need to.
Michael Waltrip just a few laps ago got squeezed, and you could almost feel the lemon juice coming from this car.
Boy, you sure can. Here he is right beside of the Derek Cope Pure Later Pontiac. They go in turn one.
You can see the sheet metal giving there, so I guess they are making a little lemonade there.
What a shot, man.
Michael Waltrip to 14th position. Now he's trying to pass Martin, who is in 13th. Martin, we noted earlier, slowing somewhat. He is still on the lead lap in 13th position, however. Now Michael Waltrip looking to the outside of Martin and the spot to pass.
Well, he decides maybe the inside would be the best place to go. So he moves down on the inside.
He got him. Yep. He passed Mark Martin, so Michael Waltrip moves to 13th position. Now Tommy Ellis is just ahead of Michael Waltrip.
Tommy Ellis trying to pass Brett Bodine on the outside. We saw it there for just a moment.
There's the battle out of turn number 4.
That's what I was talking about a little bit ago, because all those cars behind Sterling Marlin are just having to go in the corner and slam on the brakes. Otherwise, they're going to run in the back of the car in front of them.
Yep, and boy, that does use those brakes up.
Ken Schrader in car number 25 and Brett Bodine in number 15 are side by side for 10th position. Now Michael Waltrip has caught this group of cars. Tommy Ellis and Brett Bodine are just ahead.
Right behind them, Dale Jarrett made a pass on the Dick Trickle car, moved around him.
Here we see Schrader going on the inside of Labonte, and here comes Ellis on the inside of Brett Bodine. Two abreast, 4 cars. Great racing coming off turn 4.
Now, about 5 or 6 laps ago, those cars were all running in single file. It seemed that Sterling Marlin was holding them up, but now they're beginning to get 2 abreast, and some of them venturing just a little bit, trying to make passes because they know the leader is gaining on them, and they don't want to get a lap behind. So they want to try to get up there and get in as far ahead of the leader as they possibly can.
Here is Jim Sauter in substitute for the number 4 car of Rick Wilson making a move, and we're back outside of Michael Waltrip's car.
Boy, he's getting in a thick mess there.
The 94 car is hung out to dry on the outside of the racetrack. That's Ellis going to the inside. Here comes Brett Bodine. Michael Waltrip gets inside position on Terry Labonte. Let's go to Dick Bergman, who has a comment on this 94 car of Sterling Marlin.
Bob Jenkins, he's got a brand new crew chief this week. Steve Lloyd, who's been with the team since 1985, took over the responsibilities on Wednesday morning this week, and he, together with Dewey Livengood, have set up this race car. Now, Lloyd has some experience working with Sterling Marlin. In fact, he went with him to Australia, where they finished second together. So it's kind of a new team, and boy, has he got his hands full as they're going into the first turn, almost 3 wide.
I'm telling you, we are seeing some absolutely unbelievable shots from that camera mounted on the side of Darrell Waltrip's car, and watch this.
Here's Michael
Waltrip's car.
Going in turn 3. Sterling Marlin leaves him a little bit of an opening. Well, he thinks there's a little bit of an opening. Anyway, he makes an opening. He hits Sterling, knocks him sideways. Sterling comes back. They bump one more, and Michael goes on, takes the spot away.
All kinds of action on the racetrack as the lead is held by Dale Earnhardt in car number 3 with Darrell Waltrip in car number 17 running in second position. We'll be right back to Martinsville in just a moment. Winston Cup racing on this Sunday afternoon, the Goody's 500. The lead at the moment held by Dale Earnhardt in car number 3, but he and the others are caught in massive traffic. Now the 17 car goes by. That's Darrell Waltrip. He is in second position, but is hung up behind slower cars. Right ahead of him is Terry Labonte. There is Earnhardt, who positions himself to the outside of Richard Petty going into the corner. Waltrip, meanwhile, with the inside line, and Sterling Marlin is in for a pit stop. Dick Bergman is right there.
Bob Jenkins, I think they have a tire going down to the right side. Now, before the start of this race, they were in
crash in turn 4. We have a crash in turn 4. Derry Cope spins, gets sideways in the racetrack, and gets bumped around, but he is the only one that is stopped down there in the corner. He tries to get things headed in the right direction as the third caution flag of the afternoon comes out.
And it happened right in front of the leaders, or right where the leaders were.
Earnhardt went through the grass, Nedjed. Earnhardt went down through the mud, and he's lucky he didn't get stuck. We saw earlier Davey Allison spun. got down and was stuck in the mud. Earnhardt went through the grass and came right back on the racetrack. So Earnhardt, it sure seems to be his weekend.
Well, I'll tell you, he's living a charmed life so far. Here he comes into the pits. Let's go to Jerry Punch.
Dale Earnhardt brings the Goodrich Chevrolet after a little bit of agricultural racing down pit road, and he and Darrell Waltrip will be pitting nose to tail here toward turn 1. Earnhardt getting right side tires, as is Waltrip in the Tide Chevrolet. It will be a 4-tire change, a routine 4-tire change, but nothing's routine here for the 4-time National Championship pit crew for Earnhardt. David Smith and Jack Reed the left side of the car. Kurt Shelby the left front tire on. Will Lynn the left rear. Earnhardt's car down and away. So is Waltrip. Let's go up and see Alan Kowicki and see how that pit stop went. Dick?
Well, Kowicki just managed to make it out of here, Jerry, and a tire in front of him, and he just got out of the pits. He was very anxious to make that pit stop because last time around he took only right side tires. This time he got all 4. Key is, even with only 2 tires, he was able to keep up with Waltrip and with Earnhardt. With 4 good ones, this guy could be a rocket ship. He could be really flying.
And we're watching the action in the back pits now. Tommy Ellis there, the first car. Second car is Michael Waltrip as 4-tire changes are being made on those machines.
And Morgan Shepard in the Valvoline Pontiac, car number 75. Dale Jarrett was in back there. Phil Parsons, Dick Trimble, and the Jim Salter and the Rick Wilson.
There's a tire. See the tire? Did you see the tire laying on pit road as Michael Waltrip exited the pit? Someone knocked the tire, and they're lucky they didn't knock it in front of one of the other cars. This is Michael Waltrip as he leaves the pits. Davey Allison got some kind of serious problem. He's been in several times today.
Dick, what might be the problem there?
Well, what seems to be happening, Bob, is that there's a section about an inch or 2 on the outside edge of the tire, inside edge of this one, that seems to be just breaking away. And they were worried about this before the start of the race. They said probably it shouldn't hurt a whole lot, but I'd rather not be running on a tire that's got this going on. We've seen several of them come off cars both today and yesterday. So tires could emerge as a story in this race.
All right, thank you for that report. We're 110 laps into the Goody's 500 lapper here at Martinsville on this Sunday afternoon, and we'll take another break and be right back with more of our live action. Out here at Martinsville is on its feet once again, and the green out on lap 112. The race resumes with Dale Earnhardt still in command of this event and Darrell Waltrip in second.
Moved up to 3rd spot. Yes, he has in the Peak Pontiac. That's a fellow that's been doing an awfully good job this afternoon.
Yes, he's been running very, very strong.
And right behind him, Rusty Wallace. The Kodiak Pontiac, Ricky Rudd, the green car, Quake State Buick. He's the 5th place car. And there's a shot from inside Ricky Rudd Buick. Looking at the back of Rusty Wallace's car. Rusty looks inside Kyle. Nope, can't make it.
Kyle Petty pitted on lap number 108, went into the pits in 7th and came out in 3rd spot. Petty having a great run here in the first 1/5 of this event. Here is
Rusty Wallace getting by Kyle Petty. Now Ricky Rudd tries to do the same thing.
Rudd inside going into turn number 3. They battle side by side, but Rudd does get the spot. From Harry Gant's bumper cam as he moves to the inside line going down the straightaway and being passed by Michael Waltrip and Brett Bodine and now Lake Speed.
See Richard Petty, the SDP Pontiac back. Ooh, Brett Bodine pulls it right on his back.
The damage to that car already. We're only a little more than 100 to 500 laps in. Damage on the front and on the side of the Bud Moore car. Let's go to Jerry Punch, who can update us on Davey Allison.
Well, problems continue for Davey Allison. They were in the pit for a lengthy stop, and apparently they have a brake problem on the Hamilton Ford. They have bled the brakes. They have added more brake fluid. Nothing really seems to help. The brakes are coming and going. That's why you have to take it very, very easy in the back of the pack there, headed to turn 1.
We mentioned all race long how important brakes are here at Martinsville. Alan Kowicki may have a problem.
He's dropping back. He was about 5th or 6th on the restart, but he's steadily going to the back. It looks like the car is not running down the straightaway on 8 cylinders. We might check and see, but it looks like he maybe lost a cylinder.
Well, Dale Earnhardt so far has had a very lucky Kowicki race, there have been a couple of incidents. Here he is driving through the grass, Benny, that you mentioned as Derek Pope spins. Now, we might mention that white line down on the inside of the racetrack is not just a line, it's a curb, and to run up over that can really damage your car.
It's about 4 or 5 inches high, and Earnhardt and Darrell Waltrip both went across that curb, but it doesn't seem to have appeared to hurt their car because they're back still running 1-2.
Terry Labonte in between them. Terry had just gotten lapped before that caution came out, so he's running 1 lap down, trying to get back around Earnhardt and get back into the lead lap, but Earnhardt not giving him much chance to do that.
Kowicki will be coming in for a pit stop. The car just not operating at all. He's very slow on the racetrack now, heading for the pit area here on the straightaway. He's got a flat left rear.
Yes, completely flat.
Jerry Punch will call the tire change on the Alan Kowicki Xerox Ford.
Tough break for Alan Kowicki. Brings the Xerox car to a halt. Paul Andrews and Bruno will go to work on the left side. They had to lift the car to get the jack beneath the car. Bill Engel, Paul Andrews, and crew going to work changing left side tires. The leaders have already gone by. Kowicki still sitting in the pits. The car not running up to par. Apparently the car missing considerably, 15.9, but the car missing considerably. They have lost a cylinder, Benny Parsons. Your speculation was exactly correct. It'll be a long day for Alan Kowicki.
They went 2 laps down when he made that pit stop, Terry, and it will be a long day for him.
Alan Kowicki was in 6th position before the trouble occurred. And so Darrell Waltrip in car number 17 is in pursuit of the number 3 car driven by Dale Earnhardt, the leader of this race. And right now, Darrell Waltrip unable to pass the number 11 car of Terry Labonte. That car not on the lead lap. We'll be right back. 14 cars are on the lead lap here at Martinsville. 127 laps into 500 in the Goody's 500. The first 3 cars, the number 3 car of Dale Earnhardt, 17, Darrell Waltrip, and the 27 car of Rusty Wallace. Those are the first 3 positions. And running in 4th is Ricky Rudd. 5th is Kyle Petty.
Earnhardt slow.
He moves down on the inside, and Darrell Waltrip pulls up on the outside. Now, I don't think that's just letting him by. Earnhardt's car seems to have slowed, Danny. I agree with you.
So Waltrip takes the lead. Here comes Rusty Wallace trying to move into 2nd. Dick Berger with a comment on the situation.
Bob Jenkins, they've just decided to back off. Why? Because they think they may have a right rear tire blistering. If so, it'll be the first tire problem they've had. They don't want to lose anything here. They're still going to be able to run competitively, but this is the time to cool it if they think they've got one going away, and that's exactly what they're doing.
We have seen so many times Sir Richard Childress' team employ some race strategy, and apparently that is exactly what's going on right now. As Rusty Wallace moves to the inside and tries to take over 2nd position from Earnhardt. Indeed he does. So now it's Waltrip, Wallace, and Earnhardt. And Jerry Punch can update us on the situation involving Larry Pearson.
Some of the Chattanooga 2 crew underneath Pearson Buick trying to get the car repaired. It's been a tough year for the 2nd generation driver, Larry Pearson. Let me show you what happened here at Martinsville. Here's what's left of Larry Pearson's clutch plate. It's just absolutely shredded and torn apart. Larry Pearson, the 2nd generation driver, standing beside the car. As you see crew members under the car trying to get this car repaired. He would like to win the Rookie of the Year title. He's got a tough man he's chasing. That's Dick Trickle.
And speaking of the 2nd generation driver, his father, as Rusty Wallace, will make a challenge here for the lead. His brother, David Pearson, will practice Tuesday at Charlotte and may compete in the Winston Cup race at Charlotte later this year after several years of retirement.
Well, no, he never said he retired, Bob Jenkins. He just didn't come back to the racetrack anymore and drive.
Yeah, just hasn't driven the car. I don't believe he'll drive in the race. It'll be interesting to see, though.
Yeah, it will.
Rusty Wallace, I went down in the pits before the race and talked. There we see Ken Schrader in the Morgan Shepherd automobile. Morgan takes a spot away from Schrader. Here comes Harry again on the inside trying to take that spot away. He makes it by Schrader.
Now, Gant's a lap down. He has just gotten lapped before that last caution came out.
There again, the 21 car is Tommy Ellis, driving in the place of Neil Bonnet this weekend. Bonnet last weekend with a hard crash in Dover.
Alan Kowicki back in the pits once again. Got his head up this time.
And Schrader's car. Here's Rusty Wallace taking the lead away from Darrell Waltrip. That's the 8th lead change of the afternoon. 4 different drivers have occupied the top spot. Now it's Rusty Wallace who has come on to take the lead from 20th starting position on lap 136.
Now he gets the 5 bonus points that Dale Earnhardt had earned earlier. So the only other bonus points that are available are to the driver who leads the most laps during the race.
And now Darrell Waltrip has a problem. As soon as Wallace got by, Darrell is going to the back. So he has some type of problem. Maybe he feels the tire going bad. He's slowing down. I don't know, but he's losing valuable ground.
Here's Rusty Wallace's pass on Darrell Waltrip that put him in the lead.
Well, they go into turn. Darrell's car slips up a little bit as they start off of the turn. Rusty's car gets a good bite and moves around with ease.
As I started to say a little bit ago, I went down in the garage area and talked to Rusty Wallace and asked him about his 20th starting spot. He said, as long as I'm in the lead by lap 248 and lead the rest of them and get all the 10 bonus points you can get, I don't care where I start.
A couple of the cars here in this pack are not on the lead lap. The number 6 car of Mark Martin is, and the 15 of Brett Bodine also is on the lead lap, but Derry Cope and the 43 of Richard Petty are not on the lead lap. Dr. Jerry Punch is assessing the situation involving Alan Kowicki, who came in for a pit stop just recently.
Well, actually, he's behind the wall now, Bob, and they're beneath the hood working on the Xerox Ford, trying to decipher the problem. As they are trying to maybe change the plugs, we will get a comment here from Alan, who's still sitting in the car. Alan, what's the problem?
Well, the engine started missing right after that caution flag, and it's too bad. The Xerox Ford Thunderbird was running great. It was handling good. We only took on 2 tires on the first stop, and we're still keeping up with the leaders, just running a nice, safe pace, just exactly where we wanted to be. And unfortunately, this still isn't our day. But once again, this car ran good, and we're just going to try to fix it and come back next week.
Is there some concern over tire wear out there? We've seen Earnhardt slow. We've seen Darrell Waltrip slow. Were you worried a little about the tires wearing a little more than usual?
Well, we blistered a tire, but we did that here this spring, too. I don't know that it's anything really to worry about.
Alan Kowicki has to sit and wait for the rest of his crew to get the Xerox Ford back on the track.
A driver who has been plagued with bad luck for many, many races this year. Alan Kowicki sits behind the wall. Action on the track involving the 94 Sterling Marlin and the 2-car of Ernie Irvan and Dick Trickle in number 84.
Marlin, of course, a couple of laps down as a result of the unscheduled pit stop, or at least 1 lap down. I think he's 1 lap down. He was in the pits making a green flag pit stop when the last caution came out. Ernie Irvan running in 6th position. So Ernie running good here in the car number 2.
But Dick Trickle is right behind him, looking for an opportunity to pick up another spot.
And the 94 car has some pretty serious smoke coming out of it, so Ernie wants to get by as fast as he can because he may be getting some oil on the windshield out of that blue number 94.
Let's take a look at, or at least tell you who's running. We said that Ernie Irvan is running 6th, Dick Trickle is running 7th. In 8th place is the car number 21 of Tommy Ellis. In 9th place is Ken Schrader. Michael Waltrip is running 10th. Brett Bodine is 11th. And Dale Jarrett 12th. Mark Martin in 13th position is the way I see him at the moment. And Mark Martin, is the last car on the lead lap.
And indeed, the 94 car is showing some smoke. There's Ernie Irvan trying to move to the inside, and indeed, Irvan is trying to get around to hopefully get away from the oil that may be being put down by the Sterling Marlin car. Let's go to Jerry Punch.
Possibly the problem for Sterling Marlin is the rear-end gearing may be burning up in the car. I just talked to some of the Sunoco crew. They are getting ready, putting on the Kevlar gloves and the Kevlar sleeves to get ready to bring Sterling Marlin behind the wall and take a look and see if possibly that's the gear problem in the rear of the car. Tough break for the car number 94.
I believe that's what was wrong with the Bobby Hillin car when we saw him come in and smoke badly earlier on. Here comes Sterling Marlin into the pits. And he goes directly behind the pits, behind pit wall down to his pit. There, one of his crewmen running down. They stop the car. They're ready for him. And yes, they're going to work on the rear of the car. Jerry Punch, are they going to change the rear end?
They're going to look at it, Benny. They're going to try and see what they can do. They are jacking the car up, and you know how hot that rear end's got to be. And the crew member they put jack stands beneath the car as a safety feature. It is literally boiling the rear end fluid. Take a look beneath the car. The rear end man, the crew member is trying to say, yes, he shakes his head. That's exactly what the problem is. He's giving us the affirmative that the rear end is absolutely burnt up in the car. And Sterling now sitting in the car, unbelieving the situation, the kind of luck he has. We'll try to get a quick comment with Sterling as he sits in the car. Sterling looks to be the rear end, Sterling.
Well, I couldn't hear what you said, Jerry. Looks like we're burning gear up. Started smoking pretty early. We blistered a couple tires. We had a high hope stay with the snow cold, so we tried to do good practice. Looks like things will go away. We had a tire blistered and the gear went out, so we'll just keep digging. We'll keep getting them.
They're going to keep working because he has to get back out and get those valuable Winston Cup points. After a great qualifying effort, his chances of victory are gone.
Sterling Marlin 12th in the Winston Cup points. Now we focus in on Ernie Irvin in car number 2 and the 75 car of Morgan Shepherd. This is the race for 6th position.
Yeah, I think I left Morgan Shepherd out of that run down there a moment ago. There are actually 14 cars in the lead lap, and Morgan Shepherd is running in the 8th position.
The 84 car of Dick Trickle has moved into 6th, and this is how he did it.
Gets on the inside of Ernie Irvin going down the front straightaway towards turn 1, has the position, takes the spot away.
So Dick Trickle, who finished 3rd here in the spring, is having another good race, having moved to 6th spot now. Ernie Irvin in 7th and Morgan Shepherd in the 8th spot, and there they are. 14 cars are on the lead lap with 153 laps completed, and now the lead is being held by Rusty Wallace. Here are the top 15 at the Goody's 500 in Martinsville, Virginia. Top 15 at the end of 160 laps. Rusty Wallace leads. Dale Earnhardt is 2nd, then Darrell Waltrip, Ricky Rudd, and Kyle Petty. 6 through 10, Dick Trickle, Ernie Irvin, Morgan Shepherd, Tommy Ellis, and Brett Bodine. Then 11 through 15th, Dale Jarrett, Michael Waltrip, Ken Schrader, Mark Martin, and Jim Sauter. And there is Dale Jarrett in car number 29 and Michael Waltrip in number 30. That number 30 car is really loose, and the 29 car is showing a lot of battle scars there on the front end.
Yeah, he has been in a few battles out there, got it all banged up. Michael Waltrip's car also has a lot of battle scars on it as well.
Michael Waltrip has his hands full. The car gets sideways going in the corner, and then he gets sideways when he comes off the corner. He definitely has a handful this afternoon.
Apparently the racetrack is getting very slick, and then too, after the tires gets heated up, here's Jarrett trying to move around Bill Elliott, who's a couple of laps down as a result of an early green flag pit stop. Bill Parsons right in front of him. Elliott now moves to the inside and lets Jarrett go by on the outside, or at least gives him room to run out there.
Dale's got Phil Parsons, however, ahead of him. Phil had to take a provisional to get into the starting field for this race. Now Jarrett moving to the inside of Phil Parsons in turn 1.
Pretty good move he made down on the inside.
Cars, we saw the back end on Dale Jarrett's car go out as he came off the second corner. These cars, the racetrack is getting slippery. There's Brett Bodine going by Greg Sachs. Bodine, the Motorcraft Ford, the blue and white car. The orange and red car is Greg Sachs.
Brett running in the 10th position.
We'll work our way toward the front of the pack now. The number 21 car, driven this afternoon by Tommy Ellis. The Citgo Ford, prepared by the Wood Brothers, is running in 9th spot.
Tommy having a good run, has some down stars on that car. Neil Ronnie, who's watching us, can relate to that here at Martinsville. He knows how easy those battle scars are to get.
Well, we show you the cars that are on the track. You can read the cars that have dropped out of competition. The Fruit of the Loom car, driven by Butch Miller, has retired. So has Jimmy Means. Also behind the wall, Larry Pearson, Sterling Martin, and Al Kalicki. Crews are working on those cars and trying to get them back out. Now we move ahead. The number 75 car, driven by Morgan Shepherd and the 2 car of Ernie Irvin. They are battling here for 7th position, and Morgan Shepherd moves inside of Ernie Irvin in turn number 3, and Shepherd goes to 7th.
Good move by Morgan Shepherd. Drove the car in there. Looks like his brakes are still working very well, because it appears though he drove the car in extremely hard.
And just before that last caution, Morgan had just been lapped, but when Earnhardt went down in the grass, Morgan stayed on the racetrack, got back around, and stayed in the lead lap. So it was a good move on Morgan's part. Still in the lead lap now in 7th place.
And just ahead of the 75 car is the 8 machine, driven by Bobby Hillen, who is not on the lead lap. The 57 car is ahead of Hillen, and that's Hut Strickland, of course, who is down a couple of laps.
On the backstretch into the pits is car number 10, Derek Cope. Derek was down at least 1 lap. Here's the 4 car being driven now by Jim Slaughter, the Kodak Film Oldsmobile, car number 4.
Jim Slaughter taking over the driving chores from Rick Wilson, who's still suffering from that broken right foot at Richmond. There is Harry Gant in car number 33, who has slipped a lap down. And here is Dick Trickle, 6th position at the moment. Driver from Wisconsin Rapids, Wisconsin. Now there's Davey Allison in car number 28. He had some early problems. And just ahead of him is the 26 car driven by Ricky Rudd, who is 5th. Davey Allison is 8 laps down. We're looking back on Davey out the back glass of Ricky Rudd's Quaker State Buick.
Well, Alan Kowicki comes back out on the track as we watch out the rear window of Ricky Rudd's car. So Alan, whatever problems he has, they try to correct it to some degree.
He's moving very slowly onto the racetrack, though. As a matter of fact, he is stopped. Jerry Punch, what's the situation?
Well, a little bit of an update on Sterling Marlin and Sunoco Oldsmobile crew still working to the right of me here. This is the rear end gear that came out of the car and that's burned up. Obviously, you can see it's smoking here in front of me. The gear completely burned away, part of the gearing on the inside. They are underneath the car. We've got to give these guys really a hand because they are under here working on something this hot with all the rear end grease laying around them on the ground. They're on a creeper trying to get this car back to the racetrack.
All right, so we'll watch to see if Sterling Marlin can get back out on the racetrack. The number 42 car, driven by Kyle Petty, is in 4th. An excellent run for Kyle this afternoon.
The car, of course, prepared by Gary Nelson, one of our frequent commentators here on ESPN.
Jeff Bodine ran into an early problem, had to make an unscheduled pit stop and lost laps. He's the next car on the track. There's Ken Schrader in car number 25. You can see the tire rub on Bodine's car, as obviously the sheet metal is still rubbing that tire on the right side.
It is rubbing badly. He's made some contact with somebody just in the last few laps because that's not going to last long. Watch as Bodine goes down the, we can see the fender in on the tire. Look as it smokes in turn 1 and turn 1.
Dick Berger, you got a report on this?
Well, Waddell Wilson has confirmed what you just said, that they do have a tire going down. And the problem now is to see how much courage this guy's got. He knows he's got a problem with the tire. How long is he going to want to stay out there? Remember, he lost laps early in this event when he had problems with the engine. So they really would like to finish this thing. This is not the time to be too terribly brave, and they're talking on the radio with their driver, and NASCAR is also talking with him. So pit on, Jeff Bodine coming in very soon to change that right front tire and get the sheet metal out of it.
Well, but he's running very well, even though we're seeing that smoke come from the tire.
Here comes the Kyle Petty car into the picture, running alongside of Mark Martin. Now, Winston Cup points are valuable to anyone. Jeff Bodine, when we came into this race, was only 2 behind Terry Labonte for 9th position, and every position that you improve in Winston Cup competition is worth a few $1,000s at the end of the year.
I'm told that Jeff Bodine has been blacked by NASCAR. There he comes in the pits. Dick Bergman is there.
Good call, Benny Parsons. That's just what happened. Apparently, Jeff Bodine was a little bit more brave than NASCAR was. NASCAR said, bring him in. Crew cam now giving you quite a shot of that right front tire. Waddell Wilson in there, beating on it with a hammer. And he says, okay, that's good enough. Let's get a tire back on. There's a new right front tire and a new right rear tire. And there goes Jeff Bodine. Just underneath the 25.
Great shot from the crew cam, worn by Jeff Chandler from the Jeff Bodine crew, as Jeff gets the tire repaired and replaced and the sheet metal pulled away from it and goes back into competition.
Of course, obviously, Kenny Schrader just made a pit stop in the Folgers Coffee Chevrolet. They changed the left side tires on his car.
Rusty Wallace is the leader of the Goody's 500 here at Martinsville, and we're 179 laps into this event. There's the second place car of Dale Earnhardt in car number 3, Alan Kowicki, having come back out onto the racetrack after many laps in the pits for repair. And there's the third place car driven by Darrell Waltrip. So the first, second, and separated by about a half a straightaway. Let's go to Jerry Punch, who has a report on more tire problems. This one from Ken Schrader.
We mentioned Kenny Schrader happened to be in the pit at the same time we were calling the Jeff Bodine pit stop. Here's why Schrader made the unscheduled stop. This is Kenny Schrader's left rear tire. Take a look. They marked 300 on it. 300 degrees here. And when the tire gets this hot, because the car is glued to the racetrack, the rubber simply peels away, or the term we use is blister. This tire is blistered, getting ready to come apart on the Kenny Schrader car.
Despite the fact that a cold front moved through earlier today, the temperature is quite warm on the racetrack, and we're seeing some blistering of tires on the racetrack. Rusty Wallace leads the Goody's 500. We'll be back right after these messages. Race here in the spring. Here he is right on the back bumper of Dale Earnhardt, who is in second. Walt Wallace is in the lead, and Darrell Waltrip is third, number 17.
This is the doggonest race I've ever seen. You know, I thought Earnhardt had a problem. He drifted back. Now he's back up Wallace's bumper. I thought that Darrell Waltrip was out of it. Now he's back up on Dale Earnhardt's bumper. We got a heck of a race going here. The first three cars, the white 27, the black 3, the orange and white 17, 1, 2, 3, bumper to bumper.
Well, don't you think it's a situation where these guys know what their cars can do, and they're just simply giving themselves a breather and seeing what everybody else can do?
You may be right, but it's a doggone thing I've ever seen. It keeps going back and forth, almost like a clock.
Yeah, they're probably letting their brakes cool and their tires cool for a little bit. Let's go to Dick Bergen for a little more on that stretch.
Well, Darrell Waltrip and his crew have been talking back and forth together all afternoon, and what they're saying is, let's be conservative, let's keep this thing off the wall, let's make it easy, let's save it for the stretch run. Very smart. Waltrip has won 9 of these things. He's won 3 in a row here. He won the spring race. This is how he does it. He is a very bright race driver playing it cool this afternoon.
So Wallace is in the lead, playing it rather cautiously, while Dale Earnhardt and Darrell Waltrip pursue. Lapping the number 48 car, driven by Greg Sachs. Now Waltrip is right on the back bumper of Dale Earnhardt. But that race will settle down, and Darrell will not try to take the position away at the moment.
The Kodak Film Oldsmobile has slowed going into turn 1. He's staying out on the racetrack, going down the backstretch, but you can see Brett Bodine going by him on the outside. And Mark Martin has slowed also right in front of the car number 4. About 2 or 3 car lengths up in front of Jim Salter, who's driving this car now in the lead for Rick Wilson, who was injured a couple of weeks ago at Richmond, Virginia. But he's staying out on the racetrack. Apparently has lost a cylinder or something, and Mark Martin has slowed to the inside of the racetrack as well.
So Rusty Wallace leads. There's the battle for second position, Earnhardt and Wallace. We asked Rusty Wallace, have you lost the advantage of being aggressive to ensure that you finish?
No, not at all. I know how to be aggressive out there. I know how to use my fender to gain a position or two. I learned a lot of that from Dale. And Dale doesn't forget that. And Dale's racing for himself right now, just like Darrell Waltrip and Mark Martin and all of us. It's coming down to 6 races to go. The Winston Cup title and $1 billion to win. All I'm going to say is that I'm going to drive hard. I'm going to drive very aggressive. And I'm going to drive with very ruthlessness, passion to try to get in the victory lane and try to get it to Waldo.
Rusty Wallace looking for his first Winston Cup, but 102 points behind Dale Earnhardt as we went into this event. Dale Jarrett in car number 29 and Ernie Irvan are having a battle out there.
Yeah, Dale just moved around with Ernie Irvan, so that should put him up in the 8th position. So Dale continues to mark towards the front, but I'll be able to he's had some battle scars on that Hardy's Pontiac.
That car is a mess. Let's take a look at how he got this spot away from Ernie Irvan.
Ernie slipped a little bit coming off of turn 2, and that's all Jarrett needed. He took advantage, moved on the inside, and moved around Ernie Irvan.
Well, they always say that you get slight aerodynamic damage on a car, especially at Talladega and something like that, and you're out of the ball game. But Dale Jarrett is proving that bent sheet metal on a short track really doesn't make that much difference as he passes the number 30 car.
Yeah, and it hasn't been too long since he passed Michael Waltrip for position. Michael's car is so loose on the racetrack, he just can't handle that thing. Jerry has gone all the way around and has lapped Michael Waltrip.
As evidenced by our in-car camera on the Michael Waltrip machine, you can see how loose the car is. Look at him fight the wheel.
Boy, he is having to fight his Ernie Irvin went by. Now, Bob, there are only 9 cars on the lead lap. Ernie Irvin is the last car on the lead lap. Tommy Ellis just got lapped a few laps ago. He's running in the 10th position, the Wood Brothers car, but he is a lap down.
The number 94 car, Sterling Marlin, has returned to action while we watch Dale Jarrett passing Bobby Hillen. Plans for 1990 regarding Dale Jarrett, Ned?
Well, he doesn't know. Of course, he still is, Cale Yarborough has an option on him until a week from today, October the 1st, and he's hoping Cale is looking for sponsorship, and he's hoping that Cale will be able to find sponsorship so that they can continue. Hardee's apparently has told him that they would not be back next year as a sponsor on the Cale Yarborough Motorsports car, so they're looking for other sponsorship, and Dale hopes that he'll be in that car 29 next year.
The number 30 car of Michael Waltrip is in for a pit stop. They're trying to correct the handling problems that Michael has been experiencing on that car.
And they can do that with tires, Bob, and they're going to do it by changing all 4 tires on the Wintertime Lemonade Pontiac.
And they're also making a chassis adjustment on the automobile while they're in. The 4 tires have been changed. Michael's going to go back out.
Boy, getting back onto the racetrack without getting in somebody's way isn't easy here either.
No, it isn't, because you come out of the pits, if you're on the back stretch, which he was, or even the front stretch, it doesn't matter. You've got to sort of turn right out onto the racetrack and then immediately turn back left to get down on the inside of the track. Of course, the inside is where the groove is. The fast cars, those that are up to speed, are coming down on the inside, and it is tough.
More than 200 laps have been completed here at Martinsville. Here are the top 10 in the Goody's 500. We'll be right back. In Speed World live today at Martinsville Speedway in Virginia, the Goody's 500 Winston Cup race, and the lead is held by Rusty Wallace in car number 27. Right behind him, though, is Darrell Waltrip in car number 17, who is looking for his 3rd consecutive win in this race. Dick Bergman in the pit area, are you surprised at where Darrell Waltrip is running right now?
I sure am. I didn't expect to see this, and they've been saying all afternoon back and forth on the radio, conservative, take it easy. And when Waltrip started moving up, Jeff Hammond said, okay, but watch those brakes, take care of those brakes. Meanwhile, Earnhardt has slipped back to 3rd, and that's where he's going to be content to run. His tires, says Richard Childress, who owns the car, are going away. So he's going to play it conservatively. I want to know what Rusty Wallace is going to do. Jerry punches in his pit. Jerry, what's the story?
Well, Dick, I just spoke to Barry Dodson, and what Barry Dodson and the crew have done, they've gone over and installed the tire that I showed you that came off of Kenny Schrader's car. They installed the left rear tire that came off Alex Nowicki's car. They have radioed Rusty and said, whatever you do, don't spin the left rear tire. I don't care if Waltrip wants to go around you, let it go. Don't spin that tire, they'll come apart. We got a long afternoon here, just take it easy. We got a lot of points we can earn.
So race strategy from Wallace, Waltrip, and Earnhardt as they run 1st, 2nd, and 3rd in the Goody's 500.
Well, Waltrip might be a surprise to see him running up there in that car, but he's doing it with ease. That car is running very fast.
Oh, a crash. Harry Gant, Dick Trickle, and Bobby Hillen, teammates involved along with Harry Gant, and it's going to bring out another caution period, the 4th of the afternoon. You can see that Gant and Hillen are down in the infield grass, and Dick Trickle drives to the infield grass. Now we're inside Harry Gant's car, watching the others pass by on the racetrack, and now from his bumper cam as he gets back up to speed. But the caution is out on lap number 216, and we'll replay and see how it happened.
Well, it looks like Dick Trickle trying to go on the outside of Bobby Hillen, and Harry Gant comes in there. Got a Miller sandwich there. Harry Gant trying to get on the inside, and there just wasn't room to go in there. And he touches both of them, and around they go. Richard Petty got stopped, slowed down enough that he got by on the inside. So did Larry Pearson, who has been back in the competition for quite a while.
That's a situation where the hole closed up.
The hole closed up, and we saw all 4 tires light up on Harry's car when he slid the brakes. He said, uh-oh, this ain't going to be good. And it wasn't.
Let's go to Jerry Punch's pit stops are being made.
Leaders in the pits. Rusty Wallace, the first one to come to the stop, and they will change all 4 tires on the Kodiak Pontiac. Rusty Wallace getting service, and they will change those tires on the right side. Let's check in with Dick Berger further up pit road. Dick?
Same thing going to happen here, Jerry. Darrell Waltrip's already got his right side tires. He's on his way to the left. He's just a tad ahead on this pit stop of Dale Earnhardt. Rusty Wallace on top of your screen. A big competition here. Who's going to get out first? Wallace up first, but here comes Waltrip right in front of him. And Earnhardt, all 3 of them. Waltrip, wow, what a round of pit stops.
Well, Dale slid in there to second, but again, you can see how Rusty just hit the brakes and said, okay, go ahead. I'm not going to take the chance of damaging my car.
That was exciting. Doggone exciting. There's the back pit. See, the front pits have already made their tire changes. They're back on the racetrack. Morgan Shepherd, Brett Bodine, they just now are starting their pits. They'll go around to the left side. That's the back pit. See, they're changing the tires. Now look at this, the front pits. Some of the stragglers are coming in, but the main players have been in and made their tire changes.
So that's the disadvantage of being on the back.
Jeff Bodine is in, and again, we're seeing the shot from our crew cam worn by Jeff Chandler. Right front being changed on the Levi Garrett Chevrolet, and now the left front is being changed. And you can see the tire wear there as Jeff took off the used rubber. Bodine back out. Let's go to Jerry Punch, who has the tires that just came off Rusty's car.
Take a look. The reason they got the instructions of Rusty Wallace, this is Rusty Wallace's left rear tire. That caution flag, a big break for Rusty Wallace. Take a look. The rubber coming apart. About 5 more laps and he would have been in the wall.
Okay, so it came at an opportune time for Rusty Wallace and several of the others. Now let's go back and look at this crash that occurred, and we're inside Harry Gant's car, and he's about to get squeezed going into turn 3.
Yep. There was a hole there for a moment, but boy, when he got there, it had closed up, and he hit both of the cars, really. Both of the Miller cars, and it spun around.
That was in slow motion. Now we'll play it in real time. Good stuff.
It's not funny, guys.
No, it really isn't.
It's not funny at all.
4th caution period of the day out on Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. We're live for the Goodies 500. Bill Elliott, experiencing brake problems, goes back out onto the racetrack after having made another pit stop. We have Ken Schrader in also for a stop, changing rubber on the right side of that car.
They're changing the spring.
Yes, they are.
They're changing the right rear spring on that car. You see the fellow in the back loosening up the bolt that sits on top of the spring. They've changed the spring. Now to put Jerry Punch, aren't they?
Yes, what they're doing, Benny, actually they're changing the right rear spring. They're concerned about the car getting looser and looser, so they want to stiffen the car up a little bit, rather change the spring, get the car tightened up a little bit so it won't be sliding off the corner. Richard Broom was the fellow back there jacking the weight in it and getting the new spring in the car. So they'll try anything to make the cars run a little better. A great job. They did not lose a lap.
Well, I tell you, he was having a tough time out there, too, during the green flag conditions. Kenny Schrader was slipping and sliding all over that racetrack, so he said, get me a softer spring on that right rear so I can get a better bite coming off of the turn. And that's probably what he did, is put a spring that's not quite as strong on the right rear there, and that will let it get better traction coming off of the turn because it shifts more weight over there.
Schrader moving into the pit area. No, he stays out. Well, we'll be right back with more of our live coverage. At Martinsville with 230 laps completed, and Dale Earnhardt and Darrell Waltrip are going at it tooth and nail out there. Dale Earnhardt now has the lead. Well, maybe not. Waltrip battling back on the inside. They're side by side as they come out of the corner. This looks like the last 5 laps rather than not quite the halfway point.
Rusty Wallace just sitting there watching those two as they battle.
I don't understand this. You know, we all know that the tires, they're having some trouble with the left rear tire, and these guys are out racing side by side, and there's 250 laps to go. I don't understand what's going on.
Actually, 270.
But I'll tell you one thing, the fans are up on their feet. They're getting their money's worth.
They'll love it.
Darrell Waltrip goes into the lead momentarily.
So you say.
Earnhardt trying to find a different groove up there, I guess, but I'm not sure it's going to work well. I don't know. All of those cars working very, very well here. And boy, are they putting on a show for the fans.
Boy, they sure are. The fans are just standing and cheering and loving every minute of this.
Remember Rusty Wallace saying a while ago in the soundbite that he was still going to drive aggressive? Yeah, he's telling the truth.
Let's go down to Dick Bergman in the pit area, who will report on tire wear. Dick?
Well, Bob, this is a brand new tire. This is the way they're supposed to look when they first go on the car, and here's how some of them are looking when they come off the car. What seems to be happening is these tires are reacting in an adverse way to the brand new asphalt. When they go from the concrete to that brand new asphalt, if the drivers aren't extremely careful, they'll buzz that left rear tire. So what this is going to do now is put a tremendous premium on a driver's ability to feel the race car. He's got to feel that left rear and avoid buzzing it. Meanwhile, one driver's got a little extra pressure. His name is Darrell Waltrip. They may have a transmission problem. Lower gears may be going away. They are worried.
What's happening is on the cement, they're getting the car spinning, and the tires are spinning, and when they hit that new pavement, it's just ripping the rubber off. Look, Darrell Waltrip goes up. Rusty Wallace takes the position away, or tries to, down the back straightaway. They're side by side. Yes. Darrell relents. Rusty Wallace, now the leader in the Kodiak Pontiac.
3 drivers have won on short tracks in 1989. I'll give you 3 guesses as to who they are. Wallace, Waltrip, and Earnhardt. That's the first 3 in our short track version here at Martinsville today. Here's Ricky Rudd now in the Quaker State Buick, right behind Dale Earnhardt in 4th position.
Ricky Rudd has been driving a pretty smart race today. He's just been riding around, not riding around, but he's been taking it easy and keeping his car together, trying to have something at the end of the race today.
As we show you those cars who have dropped out of competition, and the attrition has been very, very low here. Those 2 cars are out of the race, and Bobby Hillin is behind the wall with repairs still trying to be made. Everybody else is still out there in competition. Oh, and Earnhardt moving to the inside now, and he's going to let Ricky Rudd take over 3rd.
Just going up there and battle those boys. You make them use their race cars up.
Please explain to me why we race side by side for 5 laps and they just move over. I do not understand.
Well, Earnhardt's taking it easy. He knows that he's going to have to abuse that automobile to stay up there with the front 2 runners. Here's Brett Bodine and Dale Jarrett going at it back there for about the 7th, 8th, and 9th positions.
Tommy Ellison, the 21 car, right behind those 2.
Yeah, Tommy's a lap down in the car number 21. Jarrett's car don't go too good for about 20 laps after he makes the pit stop. Then it seems to hook up pretty well after that. Must be pushing a little bit, I guess.
And he seems to have found Brett Bodine to race with. These 2 have been together for many, many laps so far in the first almost half of this race. We're at lap 240.
Here's Rusty Wallace, Darrell Waltrip, and Rudd pulled up on the back of these fellas.
Darrell Waltrip. Things seem to be slipping away as far as a Winston Cup championship is concerned. Can you get back in the hunt with a win here today, Darrell?
No, there's not much we can do about it now. We won Bristol, and things really looked good for us. We had a lot of momentum. We went to Darlington for the $1 million race. And I really think that took a lot of wind out of our sails. We didn't run well prior to me getting the car in the wall. And I think it really was hard on me and the crew and everybody that we had that opportunity. We wasn't able to capitalize on it. And not only that, but even we didn't really run that well. And that was a concern we had going down there, was we got to be able to run well enough to win the money. But if we're not in that position, then we got to only think about getting a good finish. Or we really ended up not doing either one very well. We didn't win the money. We ended up finishing 22nd.
While Waltrip was talking about last week, he slipped to 3rd position as Ricky Rudd in the Quaker State Buick number 26 has moved into 2nd. Well, Dick Bergman, let's ask you about those comments that Benny Parsons has been making. Why we see some guys battling side by side for a few laps and then decide to take it easy. What's the story?
Well, Bob Jenkins, it may just be a matter of trying to see what you can get accomplished. If you just don't even try, nothing's going to happen. But if you try hard and you can't get it done right away, time to back out. Earnhardt has done exactly that. Richard Childress just told me they've decided to use some discretion here and take it easy. Save the car. Waltrip's going to try to do the same thing. They've all got to be around at the end, and the end is on everyone's mind.
In 5 more laps, we will be at the halfway point. The standings are Rusty Wallace, Ricky Rudd, Darrell Waltrip, Dale Earnhardt, and Kyle Petty running 5th. Let's go to Jerry Punch with a comment on Ricky Rudd, who's now in 2nd.
I'd like to jog your memory a little bit from last year. A lot of our ESPN watchers, viewers during the telecast last year saw Ricky Rudd in this same Quaker State car that he has here today lead a lot of laps at tracks like Martinsville, Wilkesboro, and in Phoenix. This car was the car that flew or had problems at all those racetracks, and they have never won with this short track car. This car has been a dominant factor of many short tracks. They were going to change it today. Their car owner, Kenny Bernstein, is here in the pits watching Ricky Rudd. They would like to get a win on a short track. They know this car is capable of winning today. They like to start a string, win today and win next week in Wilkesboro and go on and finish out the year. They have been working and working, and it's really coming to bear. The car now running awfully strong in 2nd spot.
Rudd with a win so far this year. That was at Sears Point, and a problem on Kyle Petty's car as smoke is pouring from the rear end of it, and a tough break for Kyle, who was running in 5th position and having a great day.
Yeah, he had been smoking for about 10 laps, Bob, just a little more smoke each lap, and then all of a sudden as he went into turn 1, the smoke really poured from the Peak Antifreeze Pontiac. So tough break for Kyle Petty, who really give that thing a run here for the first half of the race.
The caution flag is out for the 5th time this afternoon. The track crew is going to come out and check the racing surface for any oil that might have been put down on the racetrack by the Peak Pontiac driven by Kyle Petty, and we will reach the halfway point under caution. Now, this is what happened as Kyle came off of the corner, 4th corner, and he knew something was wrong right then as Michael Waltrip went around, and so did Ernie Irvin, and the leaders are now in. Jerry Punches in Rusty Wallace's pit.
Kodiak crew going to work again. Jimmy Maycar, Barry Dotson, John Dotson in the crew now. Barry Dotson comes wheeling around the car. Will slide the jack put it to the left side. 26 Ricky Rudd on the bottom of your screen. Quaker State crew getting to work on that car. 27 on the top of the straight. Rusty Wallace now getting left side tires. Likewise, Ricky Rudd left side tires. Wallace is down and away. Rudd down and away. Let's go down to Dale Earnhardt's pit and Dick Bergery.
Darrell Waltrip is long gone. He took no tires at all. He just took a flash of fuel and off he went. Meanwhile, Earnhardt took 4 tires on. Waltrip was out like half 3/4 of a lap before anybody else was the first guy out of the pit. Strange strategy for right now.
Well, what do you think about that strategy, guys?
I think Waltrip's going to get blowed off, is what I think.
Well, it was surprising that he would not take on tires. They haven't run that long since they've been in the pits. In fact, Dale Jarrett did not come into the pits. He's pitting on the backstretch, and he's been at a disadvantage all day over there. So he decided to stay out, and as a result, he's leading the race in the Hardy's Pontiac. As I mentioned, his car don't really get to going until they've run about 15 or 20 laps on a set of tires. So I think that was smart on Dale Jarrett's part. Forgive me, since he's my son, but I think that was a good move on their part. But Waltrip only taking on gas, I don't know.
Let's give credit where credit is due, and Dale Jarrett will be the leader of the race when we go back to green here at Martinsville in the Goodies 500. Tell us about this transmission potential problem on Darrell Waltrip's car.
Well, you took only 1 can of fuel, Jeff, and you took on no tires. And tell us about the transmission, too.
Well, Dick, what's been going on? Some of them, people have been monitoring us and wondering about whether we're having transmission troubles. But yesterday, we had that large rainstorm, and we didn't get a chance to put our race engine until late in the afternoon. So what has happened is we've got a little bit too much split in the rear ratio versus the transmission ratio, and it's not as good as we'd like to have it on restarts and stuff like that. It's not really a problem. It's just something that we're making note of early in the race so that for future reference we'll come back a little different. And that's what Darrell's told us on the radio earlier, and some people have misinterpreted that as having trouble.
How about the fuel? You took on only 1 can and no tires. Why?
Well, we haven't really run that many laps under green, and we've been trying to save our tires, make sure we got plenty of good sits for the last part of the race. So we decided, if nothing else, come in and put some gas in the car. We didn't feel like we needed the tires. Car's really, hooking up pretty good. And, we still got a long ways to go. We're going to pace ourselves, till it gets on down about the last 100 laps anyway. So we're just doing what we need to do right now, Dick.
Running smart. Jerry Punch, what's happening with Kyle Petty?
Well, Dick, Kyle Petty has climbed out of the Peak Pontiac and is just sitting in the back of the truck here talking to one of the crew members, talking to actually to the engine builder here. And Kyle, you really had the car hooked up.
Yeah, I tell you what, the Peak Pontiac was running good. I think it showed today that Gary Nelson still knows how to set up a car on a short track, and John Wilson can build a motor that'll run down the straightaways, because this thing was running good. We were just biding our time on new tires, trying not to burn them up too bad. And we'd get back, and they'd get a straightaway on us, and then we'd keep that interval and begin to catch them as the tires wore out. But I guess it's just not to be today.
It was not to be for Kyle Petty. We're getting ready to go green. Bob?
All right, the cars are on the backstretch. The pace car is off the track, and Dale Jarrett and Ernie Irvin will lead them down. Both of those drivers, of course, are uncertain as to their future for 1990, so both Dale Jarrett and Ernie Irvin and several other drivers on the racetrack today are trying to make an impression on a car owner or a sponsor for next year. Here comes the field very slowly off of corner number 4 with Dale Jarrett leading it down in the Hardee's Pontiac, and the green flag waves. The race is on.
Got himself a good jump on Harry Gant after let him go in turn 1 down low on the racetrack, although the car almost slid out from under him. But
this is Harry Gant's bumper cam as he is running right at the front of the field, but several laps down. Make that 2 laps down in 12th position.
Ernie Irvin running in second place in the car number 2. Jeff Bodine moving up on the inside of him. Jeff a few laps down himself.
Little contact there. A couple of instances of contact between Irvin and Bodine.
Yeah, we are seeing some body work going on today. The fellas are going to be busy with the hammers and the paint guns this week.
To a car after you damage it so badly in a short track race like this? Do you completely go back and rebuild it, or do you straighten it out, or what do you do?
Oh, just change the sheet metal, change the fenders and whatever. We see Ricky Rudd on the outside of Darrell Waltrip trying to take that spot away. Darrell Waltrip did not change tires. Ricky Rudd did. We'll see. Looks like Rudd may have the spot. Yes, and here comes Rusty Wallace to try to go by on the outside of Waltrip.
Now, Rudd has gotten 3rd position. Waltrip is still 4th, but Rusty Wallace is trying to wrestle that spot away from Darrell. Into turn number 3.
Now up front, Harry Gant and Jeff Bodine have moved around Dale Jarrett. Both of them with fresh tires on their car. Jarrett did not make a pit stop, he nor Ernie Irvin. So their tires are a little heated up, but nevertheless they're still running 1st and 2nd. But Ricky Rudd might be trying to change that 2nd position.
We're looking at the back of Rudd's car there. We're looking at Ricky Rudd trying to get by Ernie Irvin. He pulls up on his rear bumper. That's the number 2, the white number 2, Ernie Irvin. Ricky Rudd, the green 26. Look, Ernie tries to go inside Dale Jarrett in the Hardee's Pontiac.
Can't take the lead away, though.
Jarrett goes high in the turn. Boy, he went into that turn hard, almost too high.
Now let's see if Irvin can move inside and take the lead away from Dale. No, not yet. Here comes Rudd inside of Ernie Irvin, at least looking inside, but pulling back in line going into the turn.
I think with some contact between Rusty Wallace and Ricky Rudd, because Ricky all of a sudden had to turn the car to the right to bring the back end in.
We understand that Ernie Irvin did get 2 tires that time on the stop, so he has fresh right side tires. Jarrett didn't get any tires, but it put Ernie Irvin back out in 2nd place. When he gets good traction off the turn, he might have Jarrett this time going into turn 1.
Nope. Dale holds the challenge. We're watching this from Ricky Rudd's Quaker State Buick, running in 3rd position. Rudd sneaking right up on the rear bumper of Irvin. Irvin looking inside once again, headed for 1. He pulls alongside Dale and then has to slam on the brakes.
Some serious contact between those two. Meanwhile, Dale Earnhardt almost was involved. He actually backed off, but he got through unscathed. There's Earnhardt. We see the 11 car, Terry Labonte, went by the Earnhardt car while he was trying to get it back under control.
Yeah, Earnhardt went very high in the turn when they braked up in front of him.
Dale is 5th. Terry Labonte is not on the lead lap. Let's watch Rusty and Ricky lock up the brakes.
Well, there's Ernie Irvin having to brake to keep from running over Jarrett. So did the car number 26 of Rudd, and Earnhardt had to go very high to keep from running over both of them.
He had to take evasive action to keep from completely running into the rear end of Rusty's car. So Dale Earnhardt maintains 5th position as we're 268 laps into the 500. And you can see from Michael Waltrip's side cam the debris from the Dick Trickle car, which is just ahead. We'll be back with more of our live coverage right after these messages. So shaping up as Dale Jarrett in car number 29 has the lead. The battle for second position is between Rusty Wallace in 27 and Ricky Rudd in 26. It's not a battle anymore. Rusty goes to second.
Ricky Rudd lost traction coming off turn 4, and I was amazed how quickly Rusty Wallace jumped inside of him and took the second spot away.
We've seen so many times that when Rusty Wallace cuts that thing left and basically on the gas, it goes. Now, we talk about, or they talk about in the pits, getting the car to turn. It turns good. Well, that car usually turns very good in the center of the corner, and when it gets on the gas, he can get traction, and it takes off, and that allows him to make a pass of that sort.
Well, Tommy Ellis was running in the top 10, a lap down in 10th position, but no more. Let's get a report from Jerry Punch.
Well, there beneath the hood here in the Citgo Ford, I'm with Eddie Wood. And Eddie, a tough day for you. What happened?
It looks like it either got hot or slung along out of it. I'm not sure which.
Now, you're the son of the famed Glenn Wood, of course, you and Lynn here. And you have Tommy Ellis in the car this week and next week. But this coming Tuesday, you're going to Charlotte with the old man, David Pearson.
Yeah, we're gonna test Tuesday with him, and he's going to decide whether he wants to drive or not. So we don't really know what's going to happen yet.
I know you guys wanted to say hello to Neil Bonnet recovering back in Bessemer.
Yep. See you, Condro.
Well, the Wood brothers not having a good day. They will take this same car to Wilkesboro next week with Tommy Ellis aboard. Remember, the Silver Fox will climb back in, maybe substitute at Charlotte in a few weeks.
All right, thank you very much. Let's check Dale Jarrett's progress now throughout the race. He started 25th, moved to 14th at the end of 100 laps, 8th at the end of 200 laps, and he is holding on to the lead at the end of 280. Just a follow-up comment on the Neil Bonnet situation. We had some comments from him on Speed Week this past Thursday, just after he got off the plane in Alabama after being transferred from the Dover Hospital, talking about that injury. He told us that the sternum was broken in two, and you can almost feel the pain when he was talking about it. There's Darrell Waltrip, in car number 17, and look at the back bumper on Dick Trickle's car number 84.
I believe that's just some of the rubber off of the bumper, plastic or something. I don't think it's metal or anything that'll do any big harm.
It's no problem, but I tell you what, we're looking at Darrell Waltrip, and right in front, Dale Earnhardt, the black 3, our points leader, Winston Cup point leader. Guys, I'm not too sure. He might not have a little bit of a problem right now. He's not running as well as he has been all day.
At least he's taking it easier than he had been earlier. If he's indeed taking it easy. Dick Trickle, you see there running in 7th place. So Darrell Waltrip running in the 6th place. Dale Jarrett leading, Rusty Wallace 2nd, Ricky Rudd 3rd, Ernie Irvin 4th, Dale Earnhardt in 5th. Darrell Waltrip 6th, Dick Trickle 7th. Brett Bodine running in the 8th position, and Morgan Shepherd 9th. 9 cars on the lead lap.
Those are the only cars on the lead lap, and running in 10th position now, a lap down, is Richard Petty. Continue to watch this struggle for position among the number 3, number 17, and 84 cars. And Darrell Waltrip trying to position himself to the inside of Dale Earnhardt, and he's going to do it, taking away 5th.
Good battle there. Dick Trickle now. He wants to make a move as well.
Dick Trickle nestled right in on the back bumper of Darrell Waltrip. Now moving alongside Dale Earnhardt.
And remember that Dale Earnhardt changed 4 tires. Darrell Waltrip did not, so could be Earnhardt has a problem.
It could be that the set of tires they put on in the stagger has not worked out right on them. Maybe the car's not handling quite as well as it was.
So Dale Jarrett just continuing to maintain his lead with Wallace 2nd and Ricky Rudd in 3rd position. Martinsville, the half-mile racetrack, a very, very tough one. And we asked Ricky Rudd earlier in the weekend, why is this racetrack so hard to figure out?
I
tell you, it's just a small racetrack. It's very tight corners. A lot of the leaning and rubbing that you see, you try to be careful. You try not to mark a man's car for a lot of time. You know, you try to keep the car down low, or if you're passing him on the inside. But a lot of times you simply slip up a little bit. There's not a whole lot of room here, and it's a thing that you've got to probably have patience more so here than anywhere else you go. You can't let it intimidate you that, oh, this guy bumped me now, I need to pay him back. A lot of time, I'd say 90% of the time, it's an accident. And the other 10%, usually the guy's just anxious to go. And most of the time, the hits aren't really serious. They're just a little bit of a nudge here, nudge there, sort of an intimidation type thing. It really doesn't hurt you any, and you just sort of live with it. If the guy's sitting there beating on your back bumper, you know, I just usually wave my hand up and wave at him 2 or 3 times, and hopefully gets the message. If not, then you get down in the middle of the corner and you sort of lay on your brakes a little harder than you normally would, and then that gets his attention, and then it usually has a way of working itself out. But everybody has to deal with the same set of circumstances. So the biggest thing, get through the first 100 laps, let everybody's adrenaline settle down, and then get on to some good racing.
Ned Jarrett, I feel sorry for Dale. His car is running the best out there. Morgan Shepherd in the pits going behind the wall, but I feel sorry for him because that Hardee's Pontiac is running the best it's run all year long, and when he makes another pit stop or the caution flag comes out, all these guys are going to get in front of him because he's pitting on the back.
Yeah, he's fought his way from the back so many times today, and it is running very good. And Benny, here's a perfect example. If you give it, there's a lot of race drivers on this track today that if you give them a good car that handles well, they can run up front. Jimmy Hensley proved that when he took Dale Earnhardt's car and won the pole. Let's go to Jerry Punch, who's in the vicinity of the 75 car that just came behind Wall.
Well, we apparently are unable to make communication with Jerry Punch. Let's go instead to Dick Berggren, who's with Richard Childress.
Well, Richard, your car's not running as well as it has earlier in the day, and you've got a problem.
Well, we don't know if we got a tire going down or what, but the car is loose right now. It just, all of a sudden, it just started going loose on us.
How tough is it for these guys to avoid buzzing the tires coming out of the car?
Well, it's hard, but Dale's real good about saving the tires off the corner. We've been conserving the car, but this time we don't know what happened. We don't know if something happened to the tires or if he's got one going down.
They'd sure like to get a yellow flag at the pit of Dale Earnhardt.
So there is a potential problem with Dale Earnhardt in number 3. He continues to be on the lead lap in 7th position, but you can see him fighting that car as he came off the corner.
Boys, he got some problems slipping and sliding off the corners in that Goodwrench Chevrolet. There we see him go through turns 1 and 2, coming off the corner. No slipping that time.
Back up front, it is still Dale Jarrett in car number 29, showing the way here in the Goody's 500 with Rusty Wallace second. And there are the points leaders and how they're running at this moment. Ned Jarrett, Dr. Dick Berggren, and Dr. Jerry Punch presenting live coverage of the Goody's 500 Winston Cup race from Martinsville, Virginia Speedway. The number 29 Hardee's Pontiac, driven by Dale Jarrett, is in the lead of this race.
And he's pulling away from Rusty Wallace, who is running in 2nd place. He's about a full straightaway now ahead of Rusty Wallace.
Indeed he is. We're showing you the interval. There is 2nd place Rusty Wallace in 22nd, and the 3rd place car, Ricky Rudd, number 26, is right there also. And we're inside Ricky's car as we watch Rusty Wallace traverse this half mile here at Martinsville. Look at the marks on the wall already as cars have gotten into it. There's that curve that we've talked about in the corners.
It's a fine line you have to drive down there. You want to keep your wheels as close to that curve as you can, but don't hit it.
Darrell Waltrip and the 84 car of Dick Trickle are battling for position here, and so is the number 2 car of Ernie Irvin. This is 4th, 5th, and in 6th position. Back now, we see the number 15 car Bodine and the 43 of Richard Petty. And Richard, although he is a lap down, is in 9th position. He is the winningest driver in Martinsville history, having captured a race here 15 times. He's won this particular fall event 6 different occasions: 67, 68, 69, 70, 72, and 73.
And this might be the best run that Richard Petty in the STP Pontiac has had all year long.
Yeah, he just barely made the field. He was the 30th fastest qualifier. They only took 30 in qualifying, 2 provisional spots, which made the 32-car field. But he felt that he had a good race car. He just said, I'm not a good qualifier. But once he gets in the race, it gets to going good. And he has run good here all day. He got a little loose there for a while and got a lap down, but is maintaining good speed now.
His best finish of the year was at Darlington, where he was 15th. So he is on his best pace of the year, 9th, here at Martinsville, a lap down. The number 15 car of Brett Bodine is on the lead lap in 7th position. That's just ahead of Richard Petty.
There are 8 cars now on the lead lap.
Dale Earnhardt has slipped to 8th position.
And you know, he's not too far from being a lap down.
Exactly what I was going to say. He is not too far from being lapped by the leader, Dale Jarrett.
There we're looking from inside the Ricky Rudd Quaker State Buick. That's Rusty Wallace directly in front of him, the Kodiak Pontiac.
Bill Elliott is also way up ahead.
Looks like the Rudd is starting to drop back from Wallace just a little bit.
Yep, Wallace has pulled away from him about 5 or 6 car lengths. It might be by design. Wallace coming up on 3 cars there that he's about to lap, and you'll have to be very careful going through those, and I think Rudd wants him to sort of separate them and let him go through them first.
Got less than 200 laps to go. Working lap 308.
That's Greg Sachs in the orange and yellow number 48. Rudd going by him on the outside down in turn 3. There's Rusty Wallace again. Bill Elliott, the red and white Ford up just in front of those guys. And Hut Strickland, the Heinz 57 Pontiac on the outside of Rusty Wallace down in turns 1 and 2.
Here's Rusty moving to the inside of Hut now. Best battle on the racetrack by far is for 4th and 5th position. Ernie Irvin in car number 2 is 4th. Then Darrell Waltrip in 17, 5th. And Dick Trickle in number 84 is 6th.
Well, Dale Jarrett has gotten in heavy traffic now. He has caught Jeff Bodine and now lapping the car number 30 of Michael Waltrip. And here's Earnhardt just ahead. He's the last car on the lead lap, and Jarrett moving in on him to put a lap on Dale Earnhardt.
So there's certainly something wrong with the Earnhardt car. You heard Richard Childress just a few minutes ago commenting on the situation, saying they really didn't know if they've got a tire going down or exactly what the problem is, but the car is loose, and you can see from the in-car camera of Michael Waltrip that Dale Jarrett has indeed put a lap on Dale Earnhardt.
I'll tell you, Ben, you said a while ago about that Hardy's car. Doug Williams and that whole crew have done a great job of setting that car up for this racetrack. It is really working, getting a good bite off the turns, going into the turns well, and it is really working good.
We talked about the 4th and 5th place battle. The positions have exchanged now as Darrell Waltrip has gone to 4th. Trickle has moved to 5th, and Ernie Irvin back to 6th. And here's how it occurred. At least this is how Dick Trickle passed Ernie Irvin.
Look at Darrell Waltrip right down on the curve, the yellow line. Trickle on the inside of Ernie Irvin. And at this racetrack, when you get positioned on the inside, basically you have the spot.
Yep. And Trickle just drives her on down on the corner, into the corner, stays down on the inside, and moves around.
Darrell Waltrip holding on to 4th position in the number 17 car, passing Greg Sachs in the number 48 Dinner Bell sponsored machine. Darrell Waltrip won this race in 1982, 84, 87, and 88, looking for his 3rd consecutive victory. But the leader at this moment is Dale Jarrett in number 29. We'll be right back.
He's taken a green flag pit stop in 20.7 laps. His problem of badly, he's 2 laps down. The problem
let loose. Earnhardt now out with 4 fresh tires, but he is down 3 laps. Jerry Punch is with the leader. Jerry?
I'm over to Dale Jarrett's pit, the backstretch with crew chief Doug Williams is standing behind me. Here's the situation in Dale Jarrett. Now remember, he did not pit the last time they had a caution, so he actually has about 40 laps more on his tires than anyone else on the racetrack who made a pit stop. Let's see what they're going to do here. They're hoping for a caution flag. Doug, you guys must be hoping to get a yellow flag pretty soon to get in and get some fresh rubber on the car.
Yeah, well, we'll have to stop a little bit earlier because we went 30 laps a while ago and didn't stop, but the car just seems to get better and better.
You got to be very impressed with the young driver's performance. You got to be very impressed.
I couldn't hear you, Jerry.
You have to be very impressed with Dale's performance.
We're real tickled. He's really driving his heart out, and the hardest Pontiac performing real well.
I tell you, they're all smiling here in the Hardy pit, but there's one guy I know is going to be smiling from ear to ear. A fellow who won here 6 times, sitting back in Timminsville, South Carolina, watching today. That's car owner Cale Yarborough.
But remember now, when Dale does come in, he will pit on the backstretch. Richard Petty in trouble in turn number 2. He slid down to the inside, got the car on the curbing, and lost several positions trying to get back up to speed. And that was almost the caution flag that everybody was looking for.
Yeah, almost. But Richard did get back up to speed, and apparently he got tapped by somebody as he came off of that turn. He was running in the 8th position, 1 lap down.
Here's a replay. And watch the number 3 car of Dale Earnhardt to your right.
And he just taps Richard Petty, sends the STP Pontiac down into the grass over the curbing. Richard does a masterful job of keeping that car straight. Well, reasonably straight. At least it didn't spin out.
So Richard Petty continues without any yellow flag being displayed, and there is Dale Earnhardt.
See, now everybody on the racetrack is hoping for a caution flag, except that guy, because he definitely don't want a caution flag. He wants to make all of his competitors stop on the green flag as well.
Inside Harry Gant's car, right behind Richard Petty.
Now, Harry Gant is running very, very strong. In fact, he's the only car right now that's running faster than Dale Jarrett is. Remember on the restart, Harry did get by Dale, and Harry was 2 laps down at that time. Now he is only 1 lap down. He pulled away from Dale about a half a straightaway and has maintained that position since he got out there. So he's running very strong in the Stoll Bandit Escalade.
And this is a battle for position. Richard Petty is in 8th, and Harry Gant in 9th.
Sideways coming off the corner.
Did he? The leader is in traffic, meanwhile. Dale Jarrett, 29, with Jeff Bodine just ahead of him, and Lake Speed to the inside. But Jarrett moving on the high line. Passing with ease the 83 car.
J.E. Beard builds the engines. He and Keith Russell, I should say, Keith is the chief engine builder at Cale Yarborough Motorsports, so they've done a good job of getting the right engine combination on the Hardy's Pontiac here today. Doug Williams and the crew did a good job of setting the car up.
We'll show you the top 10 as they stand right now with about 170 more laps to go in the Goody's 500 from Martinsville, Virginia. Rick Wilson and Butch Miller had the meeting at Richmond. Jim Sauter taking over the drive now. The lead being held by Dale Jarrett. Here's 2nd and 3rd. Rusty Wallace in 27 and Ricky Rudd in 26. And they've been running together on the racetrack for the last several laps.
And Darrell Waltrip has almost caught them too. He's running in the 4th place, and Dick Trickle is not far behind him.
So the race for 2nd is heating up. But the race for 1st is not. Dale Jarrett just simply pulling away from these guys.
There is Dale putting another lap on Bobby Hillen in car number 8. What do you suppose is going through his mind, Ned?
Oh, he's having a great time out there now. He's in glory land, Bob. No question about it. Having a car that's capable of pulling away from Rusty Wallace, lapping Dale Earnhardt on the racetrack, that's just a great feeling. But he knows he's got a pit stop coming up before too long, right, Jerry Punch?
Very critical pit stop.
I think Jerry started to tell us a moment ago that they're going to have to come in about 25 or 30 laps. So we'll see how long they are able to stay out there.
shot from the Quaker State Buick, Ricky Rudd, behind Rusty Wallace. Wallace on the inside of Michael Waltrip, the Country Time Pontiac. Wallace takes it down in turn one, stays on the bottom of the racetrack. There is the lap time on Rusty Wallace up in the right-hand corner of the screen. These fellows qualified about 20.8 seconds. We'll see how fast they're running now with all these laps on the tires.
Now, I've had Dale Jarrett on the stopwatch. Let's see what Rusty Wallace is doing now. 22.3. Dale Jarrett has been running about 22.10 to 22.15 pretty consistently, and as a result, is pulling away a little bit from Rusty Wallace.
So you can see that the speeds are dramatically slower during the race. That's an average of about 84.91 miles an hour compared with the pole speed of Dale Earnhardt of 91.913. Now we're going to put the clock on Dale Jarrett and see how he compares with what Rusty Wallace is doing. Dale moving through the third and fourth corners and about to cross the line. Let's go down to Jerry Punch.
Well, you were speculating what Dale Jarrett was thinking about. I know what he's concerned about right now, and that's fuel. They are going to have to pit sometime in the next 9 to 12 laps. They will bring the Hardee's Pontiac in. They would love to see a yellow flag in Harold Kinder's hand. They would like nothing better than to get that car in and get 4 tires under yellow. If they pit, they really can't afford to take 4 tires. I wouldn't think they possibly would lose a lap. 22.2 seconds, pretty good lap for Dale Jarrett. They are waiting now for Jarrett to make an entry on the pit road here within a few laps.
Okay, that lap by Jarrett was 85.29 miles an hour. So we will wait and anticipate the pit stop coming up by Dale Jarrett. Let's go back to Jerry Punch.
Dale Jarrett brings the Hardee's Pontiac, the lead car, off the turn and will get ready to come back to pit road. They are waving the pit board. Dale doesn't want to come in. It's an opportunity of a lifetime here in his young career, leading here in Martinsville, Virginia in the Goody 500. Dale Jarrett now in turn 1, getting ready to come out of turn 2, and he makes the left-hand turn, will come scampering down pit road, and Doug Williams and the crew getting it up. We're going to work on the right side of the car. Jack Redding's the right side. Kenny Canutt takes the right front tire off. Pat Boyles has the right rear tire off. Tim Sigmund rolls the tire to him. Revving the motor. 1 can of fuel in. Second can of fuel going in. Dale Jarrett down and away as they're battling up in the front.
17 and 26 going at it. Darrell Waltrip has passed Ricky Rudd.
But Dale Jarrett stayed in the lead lap. A good pit stop by the Hardee's team. 13 and 26 of a second. A very good pit stop for right side tires. And he does stay in the lead lap. So if the caution should come out, it won't hurt him that much.
Darrell Waltrip now in second position. Rudd back to third as the lead is held by Rusty Wallace.
Looking from inside Ricky Rudd's Quaker State Buick. He's on the back bumper of Darrell Walker. Just a couple of laps ago, we watched Walker take that position away from Rudd. That's second place.
And here is the replay of how Darrell got second away from Ricky.
Rudd's car, the back end looked like kicked out just a little bit. Darrell moved down on the inside, took advantage of it, moved around. Now that Dale Jarrett has pitted, Dale Earnhardt is only 1 lap down. He was 2 laps down, and Darrell Waltrip, I thought, was coming into the pits, but he's just very low on the racetrack. But Dale Jarrett just turned the last lap at 21.7 seconds, so that's what those new tires will do for you. Now, Vinny, you mentioned a while ago that Dale Earnhardt don't want a caution flag. Now Dale Jarrett does not want a caution flag.
Watching from Ricky Rudd's car, the second place, Darrell Waltrip. Just ahead of Darrell is the leader, Rusty Wallace. There's Rusty taking the number 27 car into corner number 1. It's a very close race here at Martinsville, and we've got less than 150 laps to go. We'll be back right after this. At Martinsville Speedway in Virginia for the Goody's 500 Winston Cup race. Rusty Wallace in car number 27 is the leader. Darrell Waltrip in number 17 runs in second position. At the moment, there are 7 cars on the lead lap, and a lap down, there is Dale Earnhardt, the current Winston Cup points leader. He is in 10th position, 1 lap down, and the car just still doesn't seem to be operating right.
No, he's not getting through the turns like he was earlier, Bob, when he was leading this race. He's out there running all by himself. Let's see if we can get a lap time on him this time around and just see how he is running since he's on the racetrack by himself. No traffic to contend with.
Crossing the line, leading lap 3:58.
And there we see the time up in the right-hand corner of the screen. Earnhardt's car, once he changed those 4 tires, he was awfully fast for a few laps. But it looks like, as I said yesterday, it's kind of like chewing gum. After a few,
and Richard Petty blows going into turn 1.
Boom! He's in the wall. So is Alan Kowicki, Jeff Bodine, Phil Parsons. He must have laid down some oil because those cars just took off and slammed into the outside wall. Now the caution period that everyone wanted, they didn't want a caution because of an accident, certainly not one that resulted in any kind of injury. It appears as if everyone is going to pull away from this crash, with the possible exception of Richard Petty. There goes Alan Kowicki away. Phil Parsons is still stopped. There you can see Richard Petty moving inside his car and, in fact, trying to get the window netting down so he can climb out. But boy, he took a hard shot into that first turn wall. There's Alan Kowicki and the damage that was done to his Xerox Ford. Quite a bit of damage in the rear end.
And here's the leaders in the pits. And Jerry Punch is there.
Rusty Wallace getting his service from the Kodiak Pontiac crew. Jimmy Maycar and the crew have already serviced the right side of the car. We'll come around to the left side of the car. Let's check in with Dick Berggren and Darrell Waltrip.
Jerry Punch, they're going to do a 4-tire change on Darrell Waltrip. They got the right side tires all changed already. Rudd is up with his left side as well. Waltrip seems a little ahead, but no, Rusty Wallace is going to be the first guy out of pit road. Wallace beats him out.
Ricky Rudd pulls out just as Jeff Bodine pulls in ahead of him, and Ricky did a fine job of getting out of the pits without hitting Jeff as he came in. Now we're on the crew cam as Jeff Chandler changes the tires on Jeff Bodine's Levi Garrett Chevrolet.
And they're trying to get the jack under the car. They can't get the jack under the car because of all the damage.
Jerry Punch, what's going on down there?
They are trying to lift the car up. Jeff Chandler and Waddell Wilson and the crew now have finally lifted the left side of the car up and had the jack beneath the car. They really had their work cut out for them. On the crew cam, you see Jeff Chandler pulling away sheet metal in the left front of the car. Tough break for Jeff Bodine. And now Jeff Chandler and the rest of the Levi Garrett crew trying to work on the car. Dale Earnhardt is in. Let's go to Dick Berggren.
Dale Earnhardt had just come in and taken out 4 tires just before this caution flag. Richard Childress said, gee, the tires seem not to be working for us. They've gone away again. So he also needed that yellow flag.
So Earnhardt goes out onto the racetrack again. There's Dale Jarrett in car number 29.
And he came in the pits on the backstretch, and he was the driver that didn't want to see a caution flag right then because he was coming back up through the field after making his green flag pit stop and probably could have gone the rest of the way, Bob, without a caution had this one not come out.
And the caution for an accident up in turn number 1 involving Richard Petty and several other cars. We'll be back with more from Martinsville, Virginia, right after this. Dale Jarrett. 1 lap down in 8th position is Harry Gant. Dale Earnhardt is also a lap down in 9th, and Ken Schrader is in 10th position, also 1 lap down. We are yellow because of a crash involving Richard Petty and others, as Petty's car is being taken back to the garage area, and here's a replay of the crash.
It looks like the engine blew as he went into the turn, Bob, and the rear wheels got on the oil that was thrown from the engine, and so did Alan Kowicki and Jeff Bodine as they went into the turn. Phil Parsons spun in it. You see his car on the left of your screen there. So when you go into a turn, Benny, and that oil is down on the racetrack, there's not a great deal you can do about it.
I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't water, Ned, because there wasn't a great deal of smoke connected with that car going in there. It looks like he may have blown off a radiator hose or something because, again, if it had been an engine, it looks like there should have been more blue smoke.
Well, in any case, Richard Petty is out of the race after a great run. He was running in the top 10. Back with more right after these messages. is in, having been asked to come in by the NASCAR officials.
And they say that a header might be coming off with the left side, so they asked him to come in and check it. We're getting the signal for one more lap to go, so he's going to have to hurry and get back out if he stays in the lead lap. Okay, he takes off.
Let's go to Jerry Punch, who can update us on Richard Petty.
First of all, I'm sure many fans around the country are wondering, Richard is okay. I just spoke to him inside the truck. He's getting his breath. He said the engine did blow in the STP Pontiac, unfortunately, and he backed it directly in the wall. He jerked his neck back a little bit, but otherwise he's okay. He didn't get hurt. Just a little bit disappointed about being out of the Goody's 500.
All right, so Richard Petty will watch the rest of the race from the infield as the field gets set to go green once again. A very slow restart as they come down. The crowd on its feet, the green waves, and Rusty Wallace will cross the stripe in first place at the end of 369 laps.
Oh, wow. Look at all those cars up in the oil dry. 3-4 abreast trying to tiptoe through that corner.
There's got to be slick down there for a few laps because of the oil dry.
Wallace, Waltrip, then Labonte, and here comes Dale Earnhardt. Ken Schrader in 25 has fallen 2 laps off the pace. There's Rudd in 26. He's third. That was some restart. Look at the scramble as they headed into one.
And we see the oil dry up there, and these cars start getting in it, and they lose control. And look at Dick Triplett go all the way to the top of the racetrack trying to get control of that Miller High Life Buick.
And was lucky to get him back down in a groove where he could get some traction. Mark Martin going behind the wall. He's been having problems all day long, but he's now going behind the wall.
I would say that was just about ruined his Winston Cup championship aspirations, Ned.
Yep, he was third going in, has been third for quite a while, but has lost a lot of points. Dick Berggren.
Well, Mark Martin has just radioed to his crew that he's got an oil pressure problem. He's now behind the wall. Mark, what's the problem? Full pressure. Now that's it. You just heard it from Mark Martin. The oil pressure is gone. The red light is on. They're looking at the motor, but there's basically nothing they're going to be able to do about it here.
So the Winston Cup Championship basically goes down to 2 people, Dale Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace. And at the moment, Rusty is going to be able to make up some points if the race continues to go as it is right now, because he's in the lead and Earnhardt is in 9th. So Rusty will be able to make up more points than he lost last week at Dover.
But look at that black 3. He's running pretty doggone good now, and I know he's wanting to get up to that 27. Rusty Wallace, get in front of him, let a caution flag come out, boom, he's back in the lead lap with a chance to win the race.
He certainly has enough time to do it. We've still got 126 laps to go. The 2 and 84 cars, boy, again, it seems like these guys have been battling each other literally all afternoon. Ernie Irvin in car number 2 and Dick Trickle in 84, the battle for 4th position. We are unable to bring you any in-car camera shots right now because our helicopter, which transmits the signal from car back to our transmitter, is refueling at the moment. Let's go back down to the pit area. Dick Berggren with Mark Martin.
Well, Mark, you had a good afternoon out there while it lasted. What's the racetrack like at this time?
Oh, it's all right. It's like it always is at Martinsville.
Is it slippery or are there 2 grooves?
It's the same as it always is here. It's always slick.
How about the new asphalt, Mark? Is the new asphalt a problem here? Do you lose traction?
No, the new asphalt's fine. It's no big deal.
Okay, Mark Martin obviously disappointed that he didn't finish this race this afternoon, climbing out of his car.
That's what I was going to say, Dick Berggren. Could you see the disappointment on that man's face? Oh, you have to feel for him.
Rusty Wallace continuing to hold off Darrell Waltrip.
But not for long, it doesn't look like. Look at Waltrip come.
While that battle is going on, look at Jim Sauter in car number 4 and the 10 of Derek Cope trading some paint.
Derek Cope currently running in the 14th position. He's 5 laps down, but still running hard.
Jim Sauter in the relief role of Rick Wilson, who for the 2nd consecutive week has turned the car over to a relief driver, still suffering the injuries from Richmond. The number 16 car of Larry Pearson is still on the racetrack, despite the fact that it was in the pit area for a long time in the early going. And there is Hud Strickland in car number 57, also in competition.
Another car that is slowed dramatically on the racetrack right now, Rusty Wallace is moving around him, is Lake Speed. Now Rusty is long gone, and Lake moved down to the inside of the racetrack, but his car, the Kraft Food Bullseye Barbecue Sauce car, is running very, very slow.
There's a 28 car of Davey Allison, and he also has experienced some problems this afternoon that has dropped him well off the pace.
Yeah, he had trouble just basically before he got started on the 4th or 5th lap. Was hitting the rear, spun down and got stuck in the mud down in turns 1 and 2. Started 2 or 3 laps down. Look, here's Earnhardt right on the back bumper of Darrell Waltrip.
As the leaders move through some traffic.
And right behind Earnhardt is Harry Gant. Remember, he got one of his 2 laps back that he was down, and now you see Gant moving up on the outside of Greg Sachs. And he is only 1 lap down, so he could get back in the thick of this thing.
And our in-car camera shots resume now with the helicopter back in the air. This is Harry Gant's view of Dale Earnhardt, Rusty Wallace, and Darrell Waltrip just ahead. Battling for 6th position, the number 15 car of Brett Bodine and Dale Jarrett in 29, who led this race for many, many laps.
Dale, of course, made that late pit stop and was a little behind when he came out with the green flag waved, but here he is now trying to catch back up.
Meanwhile, here's Dale Earnhardt passing 2nd place. Darrell Waltrip. Now again, Dale is just trying to get his lap back. He is still 1 lap to the rear, but he's passed 2nd place Waltrip and now sets his sights on the leader, Rusty Wallace.
Look at Harry again. Yeah. He's trying to get by Darrell Waltrip. He pulls up alongside of him.
For the last 150 laps, Gant has had one of the best cars out here. Remember when he passed Dale Jarrett and got one of his laps back, he pulled away from Dale and then maintained that position out there. And when Dale made a pit stop, well, that took Harry only 1 lap down. So he is definitely running very fast now, as fast as anyone on the track.
Bumper cam from Harry Gant's car. Let's take a look at our Napa race summary. Rusty Wallace leading, has led 130 of the 380 laps at an average speed of 77.165 miles an hour. We've had 6 leaders, 14 lead changes during the afternoon, 6 caution periods for a total of 39 laps, and 7 cars currently are on the lead lap. Those that have led: Dale Earnhardt, Darrell Waltrip, Alan Kowicki, Rusty Wallace, also Dale Jarrett and Dick Trickle. Those cars that are out of the race: Butch Miller, Jimmy Means, Kyle Petty, Tommy Ellis, Morgan Shepherd, Richard Petty, Alan Kowicki, and most recently Mark Martin. Only 1 crash really during the afternoon. That was Richard Petty. He is okay. And so just a little more now than 100 laps remaining in this 500-lap race at Martinsville, Virginia. Here are the top 10. We'll be back in just a moment. Virginia Speedway, and this is the bumper cam being worn by Harry Gant's car. He just passed the number 28 of Davey Allison, and here comes the black number 3 of Dale Earnhardt. Now both Earnhardt and Gant are a lap down in 8th and 9th position, so they're battling for position. Later today, 9:30 Eastern Time, you'll be seeing the Bosch Sparkplug Grand Prix from Nazareth, Pennsylvania, as the Indy cars race on the 1-mile oval there. That's at 9:30 Eastern Time tonight here on ESPN. IndyCar racing. It's a big day of racing here on ESPN. Our Winston Cup race this afternoon as Harry Gant tries to get his lap back from Rusty Wallace.
He has position on Rusty going down.
Look at him.
They don't touch. They lay on each other, it looked like.
Yeah, they got together pretty heavy. Now Rusty's going to try to come back on the inside as Gant went high. Gant definitely has one of the fastest cars on the track.
So Harry still trying to get the lap back. He does. He is now back on the lead lap in 8th.
I tell you what, he really took advantage of Rusty going down in turn 1 because he just basically turned left and said, okay, Rusty, if you want to spin me out, go right ahead. And Rusty chose not to.
Let's look at it again.
Well, they pull up on Sterling Marlin in car number 94, and Gant just lets his car drift right on out there, makes it 3 abreast. And as they go down the backstretch into turn 3, they touch together. Rusty backs off and lets Gant go very wisely.
So now 8 cars are on the lead lap, with Gant being the last car. The same lap as the lead. Rusty Wallace in car number 27. I was saying a big day of racing. Winston Cup this afternoon. Tonight at 9:30, the IndyCar race, and then at midnight tonight Eastern Time, the Formula One race from Estoril, Portugal. That was very interesting and somewhat controversial. You won't want to miss it.
You're not going to tell us what was controversial about it?
No, absolutely.
We got to watch.
You got to watch it. You should be home by that time, huh?
Yeah, right.
400 laps have been completed. We've got 100 to go. And guess who are still running together? Ernie Irvan and Dick Trickle.
This has been, you're right, Bob Jenkins, this has been a race all day long.
Dale Jarrett beginning to come up on those two. He's cleared himself of Brentwood Iron and the other traffic behind them. But they are really having a good race, and that is fourth and fifth.
Both of them just have had really fine races, and we go back and now find Dale Jarrett in car number 29, who is in sixth.
There we see Ernie Irvan, the Kroger Pontiac, Dick Trickle, the Miller High Life Buick. You know, this has got to be good for these guys, because so often we do a race and we don't mention these fellas, but today they've been running extremely well on the lead lap, fourth and fifth spot. And, you know, right in front of those guys is Ricky Rudd in the Quaker State Buick, about a half straightaway ahead of them, so they could have a great finish today.
Now, our statistician tells us, Benny, that Ricky Rudd can't go all the way on fuel, that he'll come up about 4 laps short if this thing should go green all the way. Well, we'll see as time goes by.
Ernie Irvan has only had one top 10 finish this year in all of Winston Cup competition. That was on the short track at Richmond in the spring. So if he continues to run at this pace, he will have his best finish in his Winston Cup career. There you can see his finishes on the short tracks this year: 9th, 30th, 10th, 19th, 15th at 26. And there are Dick Trickle's finishes, and you can see he has had a total of 4 top 10 finishes, including a third here at Martinsville earlier this year.
See the back grandstands. That's turn 3 at Martinsville Speedway. Coming off turn 4 down the front straightaway.
Now, since Harry Gant moved around Rusty Wallace, he has just simply driven away from him. He's about 3 seconds ahead of him, and that wasn't too many laps ago that he moved around Rusty Wallace. Here is Rusty. You can see Darrell Waltrip, who's running in second, has gotten back around Dale Earnhardt. So Earnhardt's little bid there to try to get back in the lead lap is sort of fading.
And there's Harry Gant, as you said, almost a full straightaway in front of Rusty Wallace.
Harry Gant in 8th position now on the lead lap. And we asked Harry Gant before the weekend started, is this track here at Martinsville harder than most others that you compete on?
Yes, it's a lot of difficulty in this racetrack. You know, the passing is hard, and you get kind of frustrated riding behind people, and you really can't get by because everybody runs about the same as the race gets going unless they slip out of the groove. The groove's right on the bottom, and you know, then again, if you lose your brakes, you have nothing to race anybody with. So it's pretty. You have to think about it more than any problem to do in a bigger racetrack.
Well, despite where Harry Gant finishes today, he will reach a milestone. With the start of this race, he exceeded $4 million in career earnings.
And got every dime of it in the bank.
Average speed of the race is 76.032 miles an hour, not a net record. The record is held by Cale Yarborough, was set in 1978 at 79.183, so we're about 3 miles an hour off record pace. But it's been a very accident-free race, and one that has seen relatively little attrition. It appears as if most everybody is taking it very easy and playing it cautious out there.
I think Harry Gant hit the nail on the head. They just simply can't get by. The cars that are so evenly massed, it's so difficult to get by on other cars. We see Harry Gant pull up behind the Derek Cope Purelator Pontiac, try to go by, and goes by on the outside. But he went by simply because Derek allowed him to.
Right, he just moved over. They have been given the passing flag. He did what he was supposed to do. Let's move over and let him go.
From the bumper cam now, back on Derek Cope's car. Now, we'll be on a short track again next week. We'll be in North Wilkesboro, North Carolina for Winston Cup action. They'll be using the radial tires there. And now Dale Jarrett is right up on the back bumper of Dick Trickle. Let's see if Dale can pick up the 5th position. He's moving alongside of Dick Trickle down the backstretch. They head into turn number 3. Jarrett has inside line. He's got 5th.
And got his eyes set on the Ernie Irvan car, the white number 2 in front of him. Well, that Hardy's Pontiac comes off those corners so good.
Pleasure to have a car like that, Benny, that when you step on the gas that it responds and don't sideways.
That's why they do this business. It's just that one moment in time when you're able to get on the gas, the car sticks, and you have the fastest car at the racetrack. There's not a thrill in the world like it.
A thrill that very few people can say they experience, except you gentlemen who chose that as a profession.
Yeah, I don't think Dale has the fastest car on the racetrack right now. I think Harry Gant does, but nevertheless he has one of the fastest cars, and it certainly has to feel good to him out there.
So Dale Jarrett behind Ernie Irvin. Irvin in fourth, and Dale Jarrett in fifth position. That's Sterling Marlin there at number 94, just ahead. Greg Saxon, number 48, is shown in 19th position, 9 laps now.
Looky here, Darrell Waltrip has caught Rusty Wallace almost about a car length separating the two. He's close enough to people in the stands are on their feet waving those Tide hats.
Yellow flag is out. Don't see a crash, probably debris on the racetrack. The leaders have not yet taken the yellow flag, so the pace car will stay in the pit area. Now here comes Rusty and Darrell off of corner number 4. The yellow flag is given to them, and we slow our pace for the 7th time today. Lap 416.
A break for Harry Gant and that Skull Bandit.
Yep.
There's Larry Childers waving the red flag, says you cannot go in the pits yet. As the pace car picks up Rusty Wallace and the pace car goes by Larry, he'll pick up the green flag that says you can go in the pits.
Wow, this is going to be interesting now with Harry Gant, isn't it?
Yep.
He could win this race.
Car. I think he will. Really, if you don't, if something doesn't happen, I think he will win the race.
The yellow is for debris on the front stretch, so the crew will come out onto the track and survey it. And here come the leaders into the pits, Rusty Wallace and Darrell Waltrip. Let's go to Jerry Punch.
Rusty Wallace revving the motor will get a 4-tire change, as you would expect under this particular yellow flag, which should be the last stop. Right side tires already on the car. Now Barry Dotson will scamper around the car. Let Waltrip on the bottom of the screen, Rusty Wallace on the top of the screen. Now Barry Dotson and the Kodiak crew changing left side tires. Likewise, tire change is going on the Darrell Waltrip car. Wallace is away, and Waltrip's car now off the jack. He is down and away. Let's go down to Ricky Rudd's pit and Dick Berger.
Well, Rudd's guys are having a tough time with the left front fender, and it has slowed them down. I'm going to tell you what, though, Rusty's team was way ahead of Darrell Waltrip all the way through. They did a great job. Rusty Wallace finally gets away.
The lead goes to Ernie Irvin in car number 2.
I believe he only took on 2 tires again, and that will put him out in the lead. Might be a good smart move on Bob Johnson, the crew chief, on the Kroger Pontiac number 2.
Well, as soon as this race is over, several of us will be getting into our cars and traveling as quickly and as safely as possible to the Greensboro Airport for our trip back to our respective homes. And along the way, we'll be very careful not to exceed the speed limit and especially get caught by Officer Parsons. Here's the Hat of the Week.
See your license and registration, please. I always wanted to do that because it's been done to me so many times. I thought this weekend for the Hat of the Week we would pay tribute to the state police or the state highway patrol in all the states that we visit. And I've accumulated some of the hats from some of the states that we've been to. Down in Darlington, South Carolina, the South Carolina Highway Patrol. Up in Brooklyn, Michigan, just out of Jackson, the Michigan State Police hat. The state of Florida, their beautiful 50th anniversary Highway Patrol hat. We also got one from Elizabeth, Pennsylvania Police cap. From the Pennsylvania State Police, one of their caps. The state of Georgia in 1987 celebrated their 50th year as a state highway police. And the one and only North Carolina Highway Patrol voted this year the best dressed highway patrol or state police in the United States of America. And last, the Virginia State Police, where we are this weekend, Martinsville, Virginia. Folks, these guys do a super job all year long, and let's give a big hand to them. Normally I would send these caps off, but, you know, a state police cap, it might be used the wrong way. I'm going to keep these babies for myself. I guess they want this one back already.
All right, there's the tremendous crowd that turned out here despite the bad weather late last week. We've had a beautiful day here at Martinsville, and we'll be right back.
was coming out of the pits. That's Harry Gant in the green car. Here comes Jarrett in the car number 29. And watch Michael Walker pull out. But the yellow car, number 4, Jim Sauter, pins Jarrett into the wall. And look at Sauter's car come off the ground. Both drivers have been in the pits repeatedly since then, making adjustments on their cars. What it'll do to Jarrett's car that was driving so well, we'll just have to see. The green's about to wave again.
Indeed it is. Here comes the field off of corner number 4. 422 laps. 421 laps, and the green comes out again. Now there's Dale Earnhardt, who's to the inside and is the last car on the lead lap.
Ernie Irvin only took on 2 tires, which put him up front, but that gave Earnhardt an opportunity with 4 fresh tires to move on the inside and get back in the lead lap. Now Rusty Wallace trying to take the lead away from Ernie Irvin.
We saw how easy it was to pass Dale Earnhardt early on in the race when he just moved over a couple of times and let Darrell Waltrip go by. I'll bet you it's not that easy to pass Dale Earnhardt now for the next 20 or 30 laps, because he's in the position he wants to be. If the caution should come out again, he's back in the lead lap with an opportunity to win this thing.
Ernie Irvin trying desperately to stave off the challenge, but unfortunately for him, Rusty Wallace has gone back into the lead, and now Darrell Waltrip comes along and moves into second position.
Boy, those 2 tires as opposed to 4 tires makes a big difference.
Look at Rusty beating on Dale Earnhardt.
Boy, he wants to put him a lap down because he knows that Earnhardt would be tough if he is able to stay out there and get a caution.
Rusty is thinking about last weekend. Dale won the race and he finished 7th. And Wallace is saying, I've got an opportunity to win the race myself and put Dale back a lap and make him finish about 7th. Let's go to Dick Berggren, who's in Ernie Irvin's pit. Dick?
And that was one of the real mechanical geniuses of this sport, Bob Johnson. Bob, do you wish you'd taken 4 now, or are you glad you took 2 tires?
Not really. Car's been working good all day. We just took a chance with 2 and just, wait and see what happens here. We'll see if we can hang on to them, I hope.
They're going to try to hang on in Ernie Irvin's pit. They are having a wonderful run today, one of the best they've ever had.
Ernie Irvin is in 4th position. Here are, rather, 3rd position. Your top 3 are Wallace, Waltrip, and Irvin. The number 33 and the number 15 cars are on the lead lap, and this would be the battle for 6th position. There's the damage on Brett Bodine's front end as we have the shot from Harry Gant's bumper cam.
This is exactly what Harry Gantz needs. He needs to Earnhardt and hold Rusty Wallace up and everything else, because he is about a straightaway behind. If Earnhardt will hold up Wallace long enough, I think Harry Gant can get up there and race with him.
And here is Ricky Rudd trying to move the inside of Ernie Irvin coming off the 4th corner. And Ricky Rudd tries to move into 3rd position. They're side by side. Here comes Dick Trickle in number 84. Rudd successfully passes Ernie Irvin. Now watch Dick Trickle.
Ooh, boy, did Dick drive the car down in the corner, gets position on Ernie Irvin, and takes that spot. Well, Ernie comes back, but I think Trickle's going to have him going in turn 1. Yes, he does.
Another fine performance on the Martinsville half mile by Dick Trickle as we update for you those cars that have dropped out of competition. And we watch out the back class of Ricky Rudd's Quaker State Buick.
Watch Trickle run in on him as they go into the turns. But Rudd getting a good bite coming off of the turn and pulls away.
So the closing stages of the Goody's 500 here at Martinsville, Virginia finds Rusty Wallace, Darrell Waltrip, Ricky Rudd, Dick Trickle, and Ernie Irvin in the top 5. Endings going into this event. Dale Earnhardt leading Rusty Wallace, Mark Martin, Darrell Waltrip, and Bill Elliott. But it's a very close battle up front. 6 through 10, Ricky Rudd, Ken Schrader, Davey Allison, Terry Labonte, and Jeff Bodine 10th in the Winston Cup points. And at the moment, it is Rusty Wallace who is leading this race. You can see there on the racetrack that Dale Earnhardt is ahead of him, but Dale is almost a lap down. A good battle for third, fourth, and fifth position. Look at this. It's Ricky Rudd, Dick Trickle, and Harry Gant, who has caught up to Dick Trickle, and Gant is going to turn this into a race.
Yes, he is. He was running 7th after this last pit stop because he's pitting on the backstretch. He has caught these drivers now, trying to take over those, trying to take over 4th, 1st on the outside. Let's see if he can do it. Move on the outside of Dick Trickle. Trickle gives him a little running room. Maybe not quite enough though.
Inside, Harry Gant. Let's just watch him. Listen. Looking back on Harry and Dick from Ricky Rudd's car.
Harry Gant's trying inside, outside. He just can't find the way to get by the Dick Trickle car.
Now back inside Harry Gant's car.
We got Trickle surrounded with these in-car cameras.
We got him well covered. Look at Gant working the wheel. Does that indicate loose, or is that just the way you drive it at this stage of the race?
That's the way you drive it. You go in the corner, just take that steering wheel and make the car go the other direction. Jump on the gas, and if it comes out a little bit, then you steer back to the right. And that time, Harry Gant had no problem at all.
And Benny, let's notice Harry Gant does not wear gloves. Now, most of the race drivers today does wear gloves, but Harry Gant does not.
He says he's got to get the feel of it. He don't feel like he's working. There's just a few blisters on his hands, so he's going to work today because he'll have several blisters.
Back class of Ricky Rudd's car. That's Dick Trickle immediately behind, and then Harry Gant right behind Dick. And look at Harry trying to position himself outside. Now he'll work inside. Just can't find the opportunity he needs.
And you wonder how much he is abusing those tires by that slipping and sliding, hard driving, cutting back and forth that he's doing. But now he's got to run on Trickle on the outside going into turn 1. Can he do it?
Let's watch. Harry Gant pulls alongside of Dick Trickle almost, but nope, Trickle has the better line. Now we'll see what happens. They both get a little squirrely coming off the second corner down the backstretch. They are side by side, wheel to wheel, door handle to door handle, and Dick Trickle just is not going to give up without a fight that 4th position.
This is classic racing. Wow, side by side.
Well, that's doing it the hard way, trying to pass on the outside, but he has run up on Rudd now, and he can't go anywhere unless he passes him on the outside. And Rudd might not give as much room as Trickle did.
Now Harry's got it.
No, he don't.
Here comes Dick back.
See, Dick is trying to pass Rudd while Gant's trying to pass him on the outside. And that's the battle that all the fans are watching, even though there's a good battle up front, but no side-by-side racing there.
This is definitely the best on the racetrack at the moment. Now Gant and Trickle are again side by side as they come down the straightaway. Gant had about a half a car length advantage on Trickle as they cross the line, but Dick comes back on the inside in the corner.
Boy, you take that car in the corner on the outside, and you just hope that it sticks out there and hopes you can gain just a few feet, get him down to the next corner, and hope to gain a few more.
Look at Dick now. He's trying to get to the inside of Rudd.
Yeah, that's what's holding Gant up.
And he is on the inside.
He may have 3rd here. Dick Trickle, we were worried about him losing 4th, and now he's about to take 3rd, or at least giving it a try. Now, back up front, Darrell Waltrip and Rusty Wallace are right together as Rusty Wallace tries to put Dale Earnhardt a lap down.
Boy, he's hugging him.
Oh, look at Waltrip. Oh, baby!
Off the corner, Rusty is to the outside. Earnhardt in the middle. Waltrip to the inside. Let's see who has the lead as they come out. Darrell Waltrip's got it.
Yep, he had the advantage, and he knew it. He was going to drive that thing on down in that corner. He said, I got him on the inside. Made it work for himself.
I tell you what, you can't hardly run 2 abreast here, and Darrell Waltrip went 3 abreast down the back straightaway at Martinsville.
So 2 significant developments right there. Dale Earnhardt is a lap down, and Darrell Waltrip is in the lead. And now can Rusty Wallace go back in front? let's look at it once again. It is worth looking at.
Rusty Wallace trying to put a lap on Earnhardt. They get side by side, and they didn't forget about Darrell Waltrip. There's nothing they could do. Waltrip goes inside and 3 abreast going in the corner.
Wow.
And the 84 car of Dick Trickle finally passed Ricky Rudd in number 26, and so Dick Trickle moves to 3rd.
Ricky Rudd has some type of problem. He's just not as fast as he has been all day, and it looks like his brakes might be going bad. Well, he might have just a little bit of a brake problem.
That's how Dick Trickle went into 3rd position. Well, a significant fact for Rusty Wallace. He has led the most laps today, and so will get the 5 bonus points for doing so. Very important in that battle for the Winston Cup. Number 26 may have a tire problem. What about it, Dick?
Yeah, he does, Bob. They're not being too articulate about it, but they're pretty discouraged down there. They do have a tire problem. Things aren't going exactly well. On the other hand, right now I'm standing in Darrell Waltrip's pit where everything is going absolutely splendidly. In fact, Jeff Hammond just radioed to his driver that everything behind you looks okay. Step on it, take off, and that's just what Waltrip's doing. This is the strategy they've developed all day long. Conserve the car, take care of it. Their brakes are good, their tires are good, and they can see the end in sight. They've got less than 40 laps to go.
We're watching this battle between Ernie Irvan and Ricky Rudd. And as we pan the camera back, we will see Dale Jarrett in car number 29.
Dale's car had to make adjustments on that car after getting into the pit wall back there. Didn't look like it was going to work too good, but now he has it going good and has run Brett Bodine down. Caught him now about to pass Ricky Rudd. That's for 6 positions that they're racing for. Jarrett tries to get on the inside of Rudd going into turn 1.
Look at that car, though. It's just beat up and banged up. It's got a 200-mile-an-hour tape, which only needs to be about 90-mile-an-hour tape here. But nevertheless, Dale is really running the wheels off that car and doing a fine job. Ricky Rudd continues to drop back. Brett Bodine in car number 15, the Budmore Motorcraft Ford.
And that car in front of him is the car that he's going to drive next year. So he wants to make a good impression.
With Kenny Bernstein here.
Exactly. And pass that 26 car, and he has position down the front straightaway.
Going to turn 1. Bodine moving to the inside of Ricky Rudd. Drag racing off the second corner down the back stretch. Still wheel to wheel. Brett's going to get him coming off the corner, I believe.
Ricky racing him hard. Now Brett gets a little further out in front of him. He'll get it this time.
Okay, Bodine now moves to 7th. There's the leader, Darrell Waltrip, car number 17. 31 laps to go.
And look at this race behind.
Yeah,
Rusty Wallace, Dick Trickle, Harry Gant. This is 2nd, 3rd, 4th, right together. And there we are inside Harry Gant's Skull Bandit on the back bumper of the Miller High Life Buick of Dick Trickle.
Now, not too long ago, Gant got on the outside of Dick Trickle, remember, and almost had the pass made, but Ricky Rudd was there. 30 laps to go. What can he do this time? Still 8 cars in the lead lap. That's a lot of cars in the lead lap for Martinsville after 470 laps. So that just points up the competition that we see now in NASCAR Winston Cup competition.
Here, Harry looks on the outside. No, I thought he was going to try Dick Trickle on the outside, but he did not.
If you're just joining us, Dale Earnhardt is a lap down in 9th position. Rusty Wallace is 2nd to Darrell Waltrip as we're in the closing stages of the Goody's 500. This battle we're watching is between Rusty Wallace in 2nd, Dick Trickle, and Harry Gant. Gant now positions himself outside once again as they come off corner number 4.
Well, he said, I made this pass before but couldn't complete it because Ricky Rudd was out there. He said, I'll just try it again. And it seems Trickle gives him room to run out there, so makes it a little bit easier for him, but he's going to make him work for it. But we've got a similar situation where Rudd was up there in front before. Now it's Rusty Wallace up there.
Look at Trickle battling back on the inside. Just seemed to step on the accelerator and move away from Harry there for a moment going into turn 1. But now Gant has about a half a car length advantage on Trickle, and he passes him. Harry Gant is in 3rd place. He has plenty of time to catch the leader. That's what we'll be watching here in the closing 25 laps of the Goodies 500 from Martinsville. With 20 laps to go, don't go away, friends, because this race is far from over. We're watching from Harry Gant's bumper cam, and Gant is now in 2nd position, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Scrambled a few laps ago. Here's how it happened.
Harry Gant on the inside of Rusty Wallace. This is going down the back straightaway. Gant has position, goes in the corner, and look, Dick Trickle in the 84 car comes in on the inside of Rusty Wallace, puts Rusty all the way back to 4th place.
Rusty drops from 2nd to 4th. There's Gant now, who is 2nd. Trickle is in 3rd, and Rusty Wallace has dropped back to 4th position. There is the leader, so we get an idea of what the interval is between 1st and 2nd. The question is, can Harry Gant close in and pass Darrell Waltrip here in the last 20 laps, make that 18 laps of this race? What an interesting afternoon it's been. We've had long periods of green, which is kind of unusual for Martinsville. We've only had one crash. That was Richard Petty, who was uninjured. We get an interval now between 1st and 2nd position. It's just a little more than 2.5 seconds, 2.6 seconds. Can Harry catch him,
Yes,
Ed?
he can. I think he can. 2 laps ago, he was 3 seconds behind, so he's picking up about 0.2 of a second per lap, and that will come awfully close to getting it done.
So Darrell Waltrip, who has played a very conservative and very smart race, has the lead, but there it is. It's 2.5, so another 1/10 of a second shaved from the interval. We'll do it again next lap.
But Darrell Waltrip he's getting a bad break because he's running across some pretty heavy traffic in front of him. There's the first car, Larry Pearson, the Chattanooga Tube Buick. There we see Sterling Marlin, the 4 car, Jim Sauter, Hud Strickland. Now, once he gets by, these guys will realize that the leaders are coming up. They'll move over to Harry Gant better than they do Darrell Waltrip. And we see Harry Gant's closing in on him. He's closing almost a half a second in the last 2 laps. And there's still 15 laps to go. DW, don't look behind you, buddy. They're gaining.
Another interval. It's now 1.7 seconds. The next best battle on the racetrack, as we leave the lead for just a moment, involves Ernie Irvin and the 29 of Dale Jarrett. This is for 5th position. Both of those drivers haven't been able to pass Dale Earnhardt, who is still slipping and sliding out there in 9th.
Well, Jarrett caught Ernie about 8 or 10 laps ago, but he hasn't been able to do much with him since he caught him.
There we see Ernie got a car length advantage on Dale Jarrett. Seems to come off the corner pretty straight. Both cars come off the corner, but Ernie Irvin able to keep the advantage on Dale Jarrett.
Dale's best finish in a points-paying race, 7th at Pocono. He's now running in 6th, and there's the leader, Darrell Waltrip, and we'll do an interval again to see how close Harry Gant is. The laps are winding down. When Darrell comes down this time, it'll be lap 489 completed, 11 more laps. Now the traffic is going to hurt Harry Gant because he's got a lot of cars to pass. 1.5 second interval.
But see, they're going to let Harry by a little bit easier than they do Darrell Waltrip, because Waltrip, they didn't realize the leaders were that close until Waltrip got there. Now they know that Harry Gant has a chance to win. There's Hud Strickland. He's racing Harry to the corner. That's going to hurt Harry Gant. Cost him a couple of tenths. And right now, he could ill afford to lose 2/10 of a second.
Back in April of 1982, Harry Gant won his first Winston Cup race here at Martinsville in the Junior National Bank 500. He is 2nd at the moment and closing in on Darrell Waltrip as there are now 10 laps to go.
Don't believe you'll catch him now, fellas.
He's got to move through a lot of traffic. He's got to get the job done. Here is Ken Schrader just ahead. And remember, Schrader and Waltrip are are teammates.
I don't think that's going to matter, though.
Nope, he's going to go move by Ken Schrader with ease.
Now, Darrell Waltrip putting a lap on Ricky Rudd. It wasn't long ago that Rudd was running up there in the top 5 and was a contender, but the Quaker State Buick sort of went away, and now he's a lap down. That leaves 7 cars on the lead lap.
What a great run for Harry Gant this afternoon. Hitting on the back straightaway. I talked to Scott Robinette, one of his crew last night, and said, what do you think? He said, we've got a good race car, but we're pitting on the back straightaway. I don't think we can win from back there. Almost. Ricky Rudd, he's going to be driving for Rick Hendrick next year, but he's going to move over, let Harry Gant go by. Say, go, Harry, see if you can get to that guy up there.
There's going to be no interference by anyone this afternoon. There goes Harry Gant. And now he has clear racetrack between himself and the leader, Darrell Waltrip. 494 laps completed, 6 to go. There's the 2 and 29, and they're still hooked up in a duel.
And they're catching Rusty Wallace, too. Rusty, you see him in front of, they have run him down while they battle for that 5th position. Rusty running in 4th place.
Suddenly things have gone wrong for Rusty here in the last few laps. He led this race about 15 circuits ago, but now finds himself way back in 4th.
5 laps to go. 5 laps for Harrigan. 2.5 miles.
Darrell Waltrip is trying to win his 4th consecutive Goodies 500 here at Martinsville. But he'll have to hold off Harry Gant if he doesn't. 4 laps to go as Gant comes off corner number 4. There's the interval between 1st and 2nd.
Or he's closing it in.
There are Ernie Irvin and Dale Jarrett still pounding on each other. Dale Jarrett moving to the inside, trying to pick up another position, and he does it. Dale Jarrett goes to 5th. The leaders, meanwhile, complete another lap, and there are 3 to go at Martinsville.
Boy, this is unbelievable. I feel so much for Harry Gant because he has fought uphill all day. It's like a salmon going upstream almost.
Yeah, he was 2 laps down at one time, and now up there in 2nd place and closing in on the leader.
Look at him fight the wheel coming off the corner. 2 laps to go.
And
Michael Waltrip is spun in turn number 1. The race could end under caution, or will it?
Michael's got his car rolling. He might get out of the way. We'll see.
He drives down the banking. The car is rolling, and the NASCAR officials, yes, the NASCAR officials wave the yellow flag, and this race is going to end under caution. Here comes Waltrip to the flag, and this is going to do it. The yellow and the white flags come out simultaneously. Darrell Waltrip has won. The checkered flag hasn't waved yet, but it's all over. The Thai crew celebrates as Darrell Waltrip wins his 4th Goodies 500 in a row. Make that his 3rd in a row. Let's go to the pit area. Jeff Hammond with a comment, the crew chief on this car.
Well, Jeff, it was quite a finish.
I tell you what, it was getting awful close. I tell you what, that 33 car was. I was afraid of him all day long, but you know he put himself in a little bit of a hole, and we only had to run when we needed to. We just tried to keep Darrell just in front of him, and he worked traffic very smoothly, so everything really went good for us today.
How's your heart?
Right now, it's about to skip a beat because of the fact when that 30 car seen him spin, I said, oh no, we didn't get the caution. I knew if we had to slow down very much, if 33 got by us and beat us back in line, we'd lose this race. So that's really what was scaring me more than anything else, was beating 33 back.
Win number 6. What were you saying to Darrell Waltrip in the last few laps?
Just mainly just, be patient. He knows how much car he had left. And that was the main thing. We're just trying to make sure we had enough brakes and enough car left that if guys like Harry got up or close to racing, so we could pick the pace up, and we were doing that as we needed to.
Well, there's a whole pile of Thai guys that are headed for victory lane, properly so. We're going to let Jeff Hammond go join him. Congratulations to you, Jeff.
So Darrell Waltrip wins his 3rd consecutive Goodies 500, his 11th here at Martinsville, and the 79th win of his career. The top 20 finishers we have for you as we watch Darrell Waltrip's car roll to the victory lane, which is right here on the main straightaway on the start-finish line. There you can see that Dale Jarrett finished in 5th position, an excellent run for him, as Rusty Wallace finished 4th. Dale Earnhardt wound up in 9th position, so Rusty is going to pick up a few Winston Cup points as a result of this race. 11 through 15. There is Terry Labonte, Michael Waltrip, Derek DeCope, Bill Elliott, and Phil Parsons, and then finishing 16 through Jim Sauter, Greg Sachs, and Sterling Marlin. Again, all good, but unfortunately the yellow came out and Darrell Waltrip won. Victory Lane at Martinsville, and our winner's circle interview is being brought to you by the Die Hard battery. Now with more power when you need it most, here's Jerry Punch.
Darrell Waltrip climbing out of the Tide Chevrolet. An outstanding afternoon, Darrell. First, congratulations on a great win.
Oh, you know, just another sunny Sunday in the South. What a great day. The car just was so good, and I just had a good feeling all the way, you know. I knew the car was fast enough to win the race. We didn't have any trouble. I didn't have to push it. I didn't have to do anything, just wait, and everything came to me today. I was patient in the Lord, and it came to me today.
You took the lead in grand style, going 3 wide in turn 3, and then you held off. You had to be a little bit concerned about Harry, though.
A little bit, but, you know, we were breaking about even with him. Traffic was letting him close up a little bit, but no problems. I want to thank Tide, Exxon Motor Oils, Superflow, AC Spark Plugs, and Goodyear Tires. They're the best tires in the world. Say hi to my mom. Mom, this ought to make you feel good. Say hi to Jessica, Letitia, and Frank, and everybody back in Franklin. I love all of you.
Darrell Waltrip in Victory Lane takes the Goodies 500. Bob?
And what a great race it was for Harry Gant, who finished in second position and tried in the closing stages. Now here's a replay of some of the action in the closing laps. That's Greg Sachs just ahead in car number 48. And he got in the way, and Harry was saying, get away, get out of my way so I can catch the winner. But he was unable to. Let's go down to Dick Berggren, who's with Harry.
Well, Harry Gant, that was an awfully strong run, but you had some problems with traffic at the end.
Yeah, well, no more than Darrell. It was holding Darrell up some, and Darrell's car was getting off the corner real good. And when I got to second, I could see he was getting off the corner a little better than me, so I tried to save my tires and keep them cool. And I started cutting off the corner a bit as good as he was. And, you know, he would really know he was there if we'd have had them other 2 laps to run.
He would have liked some more laps, Bob Jenkins. You can believe it. Bob?
And the Winston Cup points tighten now. Rusty Wallace only 75 behind Dale Earnhardt. He was 102. We'll have IndyCar racing at 9:30 tonight Eastern Time and the Formula One race at midnight Eastern Time. We'll be with you next week for short track racing at North Wilkesboro. Don't forget Speed Week at 7:30 on Thursday night. For Benny Parsons, Ned Jarrett, Dick Berggren, and Jerry Punch, thanks for being with us. This is Bob Jenkins. So long, everyone.